Here we go now. 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 now. Here we go 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 now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? Kicking up the dust, if you know what I mean. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going on.
Make it clap.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to PUBG Mobile Club Open Falls Play 2021, and this is going to be the Pakistan region. All thanks to Oppo F19 Pro, hashtag book up F1, and big thanks to our official media partner, and that is going to be Nevo TV. This time it is Ankit, and joining alongside me will be obviously Trooper.
Well, thank you so much for this warm introduction here, and we are here, ladies and gentlemen, for the regional finale of the Pakistan region. And here, two teams are invited, right? QWERTY
Exactly,
and I8, and the remaining 14 teams have qualified through the group stages, through the semi-finale, and now they're going to contest here for this whooping prize pool. And what a stage, what an occasion, and let's see which is going to be that team that is going to take away that all-important PMPL Season 4 ticket over here.
Regional Finals Day 1, the day is here, the day which all of us have been waiting for everyone, the fans and the players is here. But for the moment, it is going to be the prize pool that we're getting to see a huge chunk of prize pool. If we just talk about $3,600 Trooper, the first place. But the caption for qualified for PMPL Season 4, I guess more than that, the team must be eyeing to get that one slot, because at the end of the day, it will be the only one slot, obviously, from each region, and this is the Pakistan region. The team that gets to the first place, not only $3,600, but also a lot of valor, a lot of thing to take from this.
Well, the bragging rights, yes, that is going to be there. All those teams who got eliminated during the group stages, during the semi-finale, during the semi-finale, they're going to get $300 each, and it's goodbyes for them. But the teams that are going to contest here, look at that. The prize pool is going to get distributed between them up till the 16th place. Even $800 for the teams over there. The point structure is here in front of us, on which we are going to decide the hashtags for the team. And it's going to be 15 for the chicken, and the second position is going to get 12 points, and third gets the 10 points out of here. And 13 to 16, the important thing, no points whatsoever for them, and the all-important 1 point per kill system is going to be applied here as well.
Pretty much the same that we have seen this point structure from the last 1.5 years, and as you perfectly mentioned, 13 to 16, none. 1 kill point equals to 1 point. So some teams really do rely upon those kill points. And talking about the teams, talking about the team roster, we have got to see Team QWERTY, I8, UAGxTUF, 52 Rage Esports. So now UAGxTUF, 52 Rage Esports, they finished the complete semi-finals in the 1 and 2, but now they are going to be challenging their face upon with the QWERTY, and obviously it will be I8.
Yes, well, having a look at the other teams that are joining us, there would be North Esports. The Grounders are going to be here with Clarity and UNBNF as well. Portal Esports, and now we've got ZARAR, Team Sky, Team Star, and there are more surprises for you on the last and final page as well. So we're going to just quickly move towards that part as well. And here we got Freestyle, Ivy Esports, Quraysh Esports, and Modified. I know you guys are surprised. But the reason is some of the teams that have been DQ'd already. So according to the semi-finale rankings, these other teams have got this opportunity to come in and fill the spaces over here.
As you just mentioned, opportunities. We talk about opportunities. We have 4 for the day, back-to-back 4 actions for everyone just sitting at their house. It is going to be Erangel, Miramar, Sanhok, and Erangel. The day starts with Erangel, the day ends with Erangel, and the void is filled with the off-map. We just talk about Miramar and Sanhok. But before the show actually started, both of us were actually talking a lot of drop contestation. So Erangel, I mean, this will be a test of their characters, right?
Well, certainly it is going to be. If you just pop into any match inside Erangel, you see a lot of teams dropping so close to themselves, right? And this is a completely new set of 16 teams with 2 invited teams. It's been a while when these 16 teams have dropped inside the maps of Erangel or even Miramar or Sanhok. So it's going to be very interesting if there are going to be some early collisions. On paper, we do have really some collisions occurring over here. Just like Ivy Esports, they love to drop in towards the northern Georgia Pool region, and that is exactly where Team Bablu, the NC champion, they love to go, right? So that is going to be one of the contests to watch out for, and that is something I am excited about. Who is going to give way to whom? Is Team Bablu? I don't think they're going to give way to Ivy over there. They would be up for the challenge, but Ivy, are they going to still go towards Northern Georgia Pool, or an alternate drop location would come into the equation? That is going to be something to watch out for.
Not an inch. That would, I guess, that will be Clarity. That will be giving any sort of inch to Ivy Sports. But since you mentioned one team that is present on the northeastern side of the northwestern side of the map, I really want to talk about some contestation that is on paper preempted, and that is going to be around the Milta and the farm region. We talk about ZARAR, we talk about UNBNF. I mean, this is also one sort of contestation that we generally get to see whenever teams jump around the same vicinity and same proximity. More often do we get to see while they are trying to rotate, or maybe some sort of drop location, because they are pretty much in the same vicinity somewhere down the line. The intention is pretty much clear. Team do love to go to have a strong head-to-head fight.
Well, also with that, there comes a factor that they got to search for the vehicles, right? Limited amount of vehicles spawns near about the farm split and the Milta region. Milta does have a dedicated garage, but you're not always certain that if you're going to find a 4-tire vehicle over there or not. That's going to be something to watch out for here as well. So yeah, that is always going to be under the contestation here. But let's talk about the western coast a little bit. Towards Primorsk, towards QWERTY, towards Ferry Pair, we always see a lot of clusters, and IED is now going to come into the equation. So you know what I'm bringing into the topic, right?
Exactly.
That military base drop. And we've recently seen them do a little bit of an experiment with their drops. They love to move towards the cities of even Water City. Even they've dropped in Rozhok in recent times. So their drop is always going to be interesting.
So 2 things right off the bat. At the moment, if you're trying to bring one thing that I8 go towards the area of military base, obviously there will be one chance, because it is going to be Team Sky that is jumping towards the area of Ferry Pier. At any point, at any moment, there is an up to contestation. They can actually bridge camp the situation. If that happens, Team I8 will be in real trouble. But one more thing, that the secondary drop location that you talk about, the Rozhok and the Water City area. So these are all the, I mean, there are a lot of permutation combinations because at the end of the day, that all permutation combination will come to an end whenever we get to see the first flight path. Obviously, that is going to be the opening of this region finals, the game 1 of the Erangel.
See, I think even you will agree to this, and everyone who's listening will agree to this. It's a completely different team of I8 when they start their campaign from the military base, right? They look so aggressive, they'll always look in control, but when they just do the experiment, they just look a little bit different. So they really got to understand that at these stages, like the PMCO finale, just like they were trying to alter their drop locations even during the national championship finale stage in the early stages, but later on in the last 2 days they went back to that military drop, and that is not, these big stages are not the stages to experiment with your drop. Just go with your tried and tested strategies, go towards military base, and you are so devastating over there. So just get some points for yourself, and we know what Crypto Trinda Museum can pull off, and this is going to be something really interesting because this is not a big tournament. Just 16 matches, 8 Erangels that these lads have got to play over here. So it becomes really crucial that they maximize the number of points that they can get out of Erangel.
100% agree with you. Just the fact that you put up, I mean, there are not a lot of matches. Just 16 matches that to get to see, and not a lot of experimentation that you can actually do. At the end of the day, the circle. I mean, we have talked a lot about the teams. Just imagine the circle going away and away, and somewhere down the line, we have those notorious shifts where the complete sort of circle shift gets on the area of military base.
Always.
In that situation, I8 is one team that really blooms. I8 one team that really flourishes.
Well, that is the fun part in the Battle Royale format, right? No analyst, no IGL can guarantee you a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Anything can
I mean,
happen.
that's the randomness.
Yes, that's the randomness. The circle can go in any direction. But where will the circle go in this opening game of the regional finale for the Pakistan region? That is the question that is going to get answered shortly. And here we have the plane, the C-130, flying over the Erangel from Primos to Severny. And what an amazing lobby this is. We are in for an amazing treat here, Ankit. Let's see how the things are going to shape up. And we were talking about contestations near the Primos region. That is exactly where the flight path is going to start.
And that eventually invites a lot of teams to jump onto the same vicinity. But as we just get to see the complete eastern side, talk about the area of Lipovka, Milta Power, Farm. I mean, Farm is still glidable, but the teams that would love to go towards the area of Milta, there is a big challenge onto them. Talk about Milta, we have seen teams like ZARAR jumping towards them. And in the same vicinity, I mean, there are a lot of teams jumping. So we might get to see some sort of drop contestation. And in these sort of circles, in these sort of flight paths, the vehicle spawn is more important, and the overpowering over it, getting control of it is more important. But for the moment, as we just mentioned, we were talking about I8 going towards a different drop location, but no, the answer is here. They are moving and inching towards the area of military base. As we get to see, it is going to be the grounders in the area of Primorsk, and there is a complete, not sort of congestions, but players are in a split from the sides of NFP Sky Esports around the area of Ferry Pier. So I'll be more interested to see, because they know the history, they know the track record of I8. This is for a treat. I mean, as just mentioned.
Well, I'm just waiting for the first circle, and here it is towards Stalberg Kamishki. The eastern shore coming into the equation, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Stalberg Kamishki, and we know a team that loves to start their Erangel campaign from the city of Lipovka. Where are they? That is going to be something to watch out for. I'm speaking about QWERTY. I don't see them moving towards the city already, and there are some early contestations happening from the Georgia Pool container. I believe already one of the players has been eliminated. UAGxTUF have lost KSF, one of the key members from the team, eliminated early in the game.
And who is there? Who is there? It is going to be Clarity in the same vicinity, and this is going to be a huge elongated fight, and this is a team that really don't fights away and backs away.
Oh, we have Rahman.
Exactly, we have there. But as you just mentioned, I mean, we might expect some sort of contestation as now UAGxTUF. So now this is one team that really finished the semifinals on a very high 186 point on the first ball. The confidence and the morale is already high, and since they already know, because they must have seen those parachutes in there, and they're pretty much aware about all these vicinities, about all these surroundings, and at any moment, at any point, if they try to take a head-on-head fight, there is one more thing. And moving on to along, since there is a eastern shift, there is more possibility that the teams that might come in from the western side can eventually collide even before they have moved into the circle.
Well, certainly that is going to be a possibility. And you talked about the confidence, right? And speak about the confidence of the teams who qualified. Like, there was an initial slot list, their name was there, but then few teams got DQ'd, and some of the teams got the second opportunity over there. So it's a big stance for them. How the confidence is going to shape up for them, the kind of opportunity they're going to utilize is going to be something to watch out for. And have a look towards the western shore, the kind of population density developing over there. There are going to be a lot of rotations moving in towards the areas of Yasnaya, Mansion, Shelter, Farms, and we're going to watch these rotations, as already towards the eastern shore we can witness the team of QWERTY.
It is. QWERTY is moving along slowly and steadily, as we're getting to see a lot of teams moving along. But an early sort of rotation that we're getting to see from side the Portal Esports is Nocto along with his teammate. It seems that they have already not looted. I mean, maybe they have looted, but since they are prioritizing for those vehicles and those spawns vehicle, this is one good thing that a team actually need to look up for. But apart from those one kill, one knock, we are still heading towards all those teams that are finding themselves in a good position for the moment with 52 rage. As we just mentioned before the show started, they are the one team that are finding themselves in the heartland, the hinterland of this full Erangel, and that is obviously going to be of Pachinki. But there is one team that is playing in a split around the areas of Gatka. We'll get to see how the fight actually turns out. But Clarity Esports, I mean, this is one team that really needed to shine, to outshine. But the way the performance they actually showed in the game of semifinals, that was certainly not justifiable. In terms of kill, that was still pretty much acceptable. But somewhere down the line, in the area of placement points, they did falter down. Won't you agree with me?
Well, this is a team that already has a good slot, right? They have already qualified through the NC. So they might just do the experimentation, and what better stage to do that, right? So that is going to be something for Team Bablu, and this is exactly what they should be doing. They should try all their strategies, check out what's working for them or not, until or unless they are not getting the, out of the competition. They are here inside the regional finale. Now they can go to their tried and trusted strategies and make sure to get at the maximum prize pool out of here, because this is a team that has already got the slot, right? So you never know what are they up to, and that is going to be the X factor over here. QWERTY Esports, Team Bablu, we know what they can do. They've already showed it to the entire region. The kind of domination they showed during the national championship, they can certainly repeat the performance, but let's see if they're going to be able to do that or not inside the PMCO regional finale. That is something we're going to find out in the course of the next 16 matches through the 4 days.
And that starts from here. That starts from Erangel itself, as now Grounders slowly and steadily making a move. I mean, more than 2,500 meters is what they need to cover, and the players are really wise enough to get all those vehicles acclimatized for them. But 52 Rage, I mean, this is a team that really finished their tournament on a high, 145 total points, and they finished second below. Obviously, it was UAGxTUF in the semifinals. Some really good performance that we got to see in the latter half of the semifinals itself. But somewhere down the line, since they are in the pretty much closer on the edge of the circle, they need not to move an inch. And this was one good team that we really had a star performance from their side, because they really took head-on-head fight. Talk about the players like Cairo, Hamzi, Foster. Everyone has shown their mettle. Everyone has shown their prowess in their own way.
I think Foster is the standout player.
I mean, the X factor.
He is the X factor for this team, and I was just going through the stats as well in the morning, and I saw his name feature in the top kill leaders from the semi-finale as well. So he's an amazing player altogether, and the way he's been just dominating on the Pakistani region scene right now, it's certainly going to help them in the long run. And they were also featuring on the hashtag one position at certain stage of the semi-finale, so that's going to be a big confidence for them to carry. And you know, you got to be ending up on the hashtag one position during the PMCO regional finale, and only then you go ahead, you walk up the ladder, and that is a very good opportunity.
Indeed, it is going to be the case, but for the moment it is going to be Prison where Team QWERTY is positioned. I mean, a lot of hope, a lot of expectations, and the team that are pretty much in the same vicinity, Voltrux. I mean, we have seen in the past the team that has shown its own mettle. For the moment it is going to be Prison, and since we just got to see the circle that made a Eastern Shift, the team need not to move an inch here or there, and the player are pretty much in the same vicinity. But talking about the vicinity, it seems that now ZARAR's location and rotation has been completely spotted by one team, and that is going to be of Team Star. Slowly and steadily, since ZARAR, I mean, they were not given an opportunity to drop towards the area of Milta, this was bound to happen.
Certainly, and the second player for UAGxTUF also goes down as the rotations are being executed, as the first circle has started to close in now. And Team Star, just like you mentioned, the kind of area they have dominated, it's a very big open space that they love to. Now, UAGxTUF, they've got a situation to handle. The lads from UAGxNF, they are in rotation, and they have spotted them right in this location. They've got all individual vehicles to command, and Ivy, losing 2 players, this duo does not want to engage a fight right now. They are showing some trigger discipline just outside the ruins area, and that is exactly the right thing to do right now.
Finding themselves in the area of ruins, right? They are finding themselves in a position, a susceptible position for the moment, as now they need to make a move into the zone, as now obviously one kill that has been secured from the sides of UAGxTUF. Right off the go, they have showed their intention that whatever be the case, we will be taking the fights, we will be taking the kills, as because this was a team that really finished the finals on a very high, and this is one team that still needs to move 550 meters, and this is going to be an easy task for them, because the bridges and the areas from which they are trying to rotate, it seems that they are going to be the one that will be making first entry from the sides of western side.
Well, certainly they are going to be. And notice the lull over here. We are into the 8.5 minute mark. 16 teams, 62 players. Just Ivy losing on 2 players early. But the rest of the teams just taking this opportunity calmly. They just know it's a very important opening game. Even in other regions, the first game has got a significant impact on the overall standings for other teams as well. So it's going to be very important how all these teams start their campaign over here. And Freestyle just already stationed towards the center parts of the first circle over here, and a drop just landing very close to the compound where they are right now. But the problem is they've got a cluster to deal with over there, and now with the shift of the circle, they find themselves towards the southern part. But there are teams rotating.
They are.
Look at that. Team Grounders have just made their way through the Primorsk region, just finding themselves outside Pochinki, and they're just reading the situation in their vehicles. They would be making a big rotation, and they're just trying to encircle that long path and maybe enter through the prison area.
That can certainly be the case. That can certainly be the case. If that happens, they will have a real good chance, because each and every team that were positioned there, now they have actually evacuated. But for the moment, it is going to be ZARAR that is finding themselves in a fight between obviously NFP Sky Esports, and NFP Sky has been completely eliminated. But talking about that, I8 has also come up with the good rotations, because Novorupnoy is the bridge that they have actually taken, and since now they find themselves in a lot of cluster, fights are bound to happen, as we still have the 16 teams, 61 players alive, 10 minutes. The players are in the pretty much closer vicinity, but they are not looking to take up the fight.
And who's got eyes on that? QWERTY. They've got eyes on the fight over there. They're just overlooking the compound right now, and all this cluster is just developing towards the eastern part of the city of Yasnaya Polyana, that is right in the heart of the circle. It's going to be very important where the circle shifts. Is the city going to be inside the next circle or not? What an amazing pull over there from the buggy. No escape allowed. This is modified Hamad, who's been just eliminated out of the lobby here. And this is the first kill for 52 Rage Esports, right? We were talking about this team, how they have been dominating. Look at that. 2 players already in rotation, just trying to move towards the area where they have already stationed. So it's a really decent start for them. And constantly it's Rahman from QWERTY just pinning and posing problems from Team Sky. They just got to hold up to the situation for how long? Look at that. 60 players alive even now. This is the 11-minute mark. No one just picking up the pace. And they all know the importance of this opportunity, and they're just trying to cook it. Take as many players as you can towards the final circle, and that is what each and every IGL is trying to pull off over here.
That's the key to success. That's the key to success. It'll just perfectly mentioned, but it seems that now I8 Esports are finding themselves into those wheat areas, wheat farmlands areas, where we are getting to see the southern side of Yasnaya Polyana. We're now trying to pin down the players of Quraysh, but it seems that ZARAR has its eyes set upon him, as he has brought the first knock onto the players, as now I8 Esports, realizing the fact with the help of those obviously glamorous vehicles, they might go for the rotation, but till now they are just using all those vehicles for the moment. Second drop on its way, that is going to be Marksman 14. Obviously that will be getting a lot of prowess if any team will have their hands upon them. That's a gun that can be used in 2 ways. Eventually at the end of the day you get to extend it. 20 bullets, not extended, I mean that can still be used with the tap shots if you have 8x or 6x.
Certainly. MK is an amazing weapon, and if you get good scopes on it, you can really use it on the distance as well. But now this is an important fight happening over here. This is ZARAR Esports. In front of them, we have got Quraysh, and they are trying to take control of the edges of the city of Yasnaya Polyana. Reading the circle perfectly, both these teams know how important the edge control of the city can be. And that is exactly what they're doing right now. The next shot of the circle is here, and it goes towards the lake. So the city of Yasnaya Polyana is going to be part of the circle, but there's no guarantee that the next shot of the zone will have the compounds of Yasnaya inside it. So all these teams, you won't see them committing towards Yasnaya Polyana. They are more or less just moving towards the northern part of the lake over there. You can see UAG, Star, even Team Bablu going towards that part, crossing the bridge completely. For a moment, they were interested towards Yasnaya Polyana, but now they've completely given up on it. And look at Freestyle. They're looking for some shelter. They've changed away in the rotation. And now I8, Uzium is down over here. Reviews, he's just popped in a smoke, looking to just give that revive to Uzium. Is that going to be allowed? They've been caught out in open grounds. They've got an archer tower to play with and some vehicles. Let's see how they're going to deal with this.
It is going to be a tough task for them, as now players are getting back shots from the moment. It's going to be Blade that just need to patch himself at this moment, as now it is going to be multiple teams from different direction. It is going to be both Esports and back inside, but Freestyles, I mean, talk about these teams. This team has been in those areas for a long time, but we just got to see the circle as it's made towards those western side. A lot of congestion, a lot of traffic has already developed, as you got to see. A lot of players are just trying to rotate, and in doing that, it is going to be obviously one team that will be making a move. Will it be so? Will it be not so? We have to still wait for that, as now Malik is still stationing himself in all these compounds, but he is making sure he is getting a lot of info for his team. But on a different tangent, it is going to be 52 Rage Cairo taking its fight, and he's not just stopping, because a moment ago we saw the same player getting the kills for his teams, and now he's still striking back.
There was a big commotion inside the lobby when the previous circle was shaping up, right? A lot of teams were restationing themselves in different positions, and I8 just lost a player in rotation, but they had to stop midway. They used up the covers that were available, but now realizing that they were not in a very good spot out in the open fields, that's not something I8 would like to play with. And that is why they just pick up the remaining vehicles and just move towards a better position. They've gone towards that bridge, and I don't think they're going to cross the bridge at this point. They might just station themselves, and look at this. They've got a better angle on the lads of North Esports who are controlling that patrol station towards that bridge that goes towards Severny. And now they would just try to create an opening on them. But on the other side, they've got ZARAR to deal with.
ZARAR,
Yep.
exactly. ZARAR on a charge as Cronus is finding himself on the dip, but players are giving some complete cover fire from the backhand side as now Freestyles must be interested as we just got to see, but still, as you perfectly mentioned, Yasna Polana is still under consultation as now players are finding themselves beat with the compound, beat with the edges of those small little streams, small little lakes, as now ZARAR Esports is in no mood to make a rotation because they know that it is going to be I8 that is completely pinned in these small little huts, and if at any point, at any flank angle that can be created, this will be one thing. But on a different tangent, Freestyle is getting a lot of dent onto them as now I8 is taking a charge. I mean, I8, they really retreated from that, but they are not out of the fight for now.
Well, this is not a team that you can easily pin down, right? They will always retaliate back, and that is exactly what I8 is doing, just controlling the landscape beautifully. They've just got a knock inside the city, and this is Crypto. Brilliance! He's just lost the helmet, but made sure to close the gate on time so that he doesn't get more shots over there. But now the next shift of the circle, look at this. Team Bablu's prediction was on point. They've got the concrete cover that they needed, and there's an Archer Tower very close to the concrete cover that they're enjoying, and 420 boy has deployed himself over there. So those ridges are going to be very tricky now to control. The split 3-1 from Clarity Esports is definitely going to give a very good control for Team Bablu right now, and we've got towards the northern side of the compound, Team QWERTY stationed. A lot of rotations coming in from the northern part of the circle over here, and they're beautifully stationed, both QWERTY and Team Bablu, to hurt those teams. And now how these teams are going to rotate, taking maximum players inside, is it going to be possible or not? That is going to be something we're going to find out in the next minute or so.
As soon as Circle made a shift, there is a big traffic that is developing onto the eastern half of the circle as now trying to move. They are going in for a charge as now 52 rage. Cairo is on a charge for the moment, but it seems that he has got a lot of dent on his body, but he realizes the situation that he really needs to back away from the situation. But on a different tangent, it is going to be Stars Anonymous that is completely pinned down onto the charge. Voltrex is on the receiving end, and Zyro makes sure that before he falls down, it will be him. But what will happen? Rahman, it seems that complete destruction is what that happens. But no, it seems that Voltrex actually was pinned in before the time that he actually came in. But Gyrox has now fallen down. Rahman is still on a charge, making sure that his prayer doesn't bleed off. But it is going to be loosened from different angles, just trying to pin the charge.
Oh, he takes him down.
Exactly.
He takes him down with an AK. There were two players from Team Star in the vicinity. Rahman just took control of the situation. Now Fury, he's just finding himself running out in the open. That's desperation coming in for Team Star. How are they going to deal with the situation? The revive on Voltrex is going to get executed. Where are the other players of Team QWERTY? That is going to be something to watch out for. That Shaq is the only cover for Fury right now. He's got two players out in the open that are really desperate. There's no possible manner that they can give a revive with QWERTY just regrouping outside the circle right now. The remaining two players, if you can spot them, they're already inside the zone.
But on a different channel, it is going to be some different fights erupting. But I perfectly mentioned, now Voltrex is giving assistance to Rahman, but one player is still into that circle. He's still pledging the edge, but it seems that Rahman, with the help of Smoke, will be helping and getting all the loots acclimated for them. But for the moment, it's going to be a tough task for them to make a move into zone. But one good thing that Team QWERTY has made, that some players have been deployed in circle. We talk about the deployment. It is going to be now Freestyles that are on a charge, but on a different tangent. It is no stopping for I8 as now Blades bring one more knock, and now QWERTY will be punishing and charging each and every player that are trying to make a move from that northern side.
Even 52 Rage are getting some kills for themselves. They've pinned down North Esports. They've got a few players, but Yusuf goes down over here. Blade does try to take that. Oh, but Blade is gone down as well. This is Quraysh Esports hurting the lads of I8 right now, and I would like to see how many players are standing for I8. I think just only one last lad remaining for them. Is it going to be an early exit for I8 inside the first game of the region finale of the PMCO? That is going to be something to watch out for. Even the entire region is just waiting inside the kill feed. How are they going to deal with this? Museum, he's been finished over there by that SLR. Freestyle pinning them down, hurting very badly. This is just the 19-minute mark, and the end game is just beginning in this opener of this Erangel game right now. And look at you can see Rage Hamzi out there. He's just applying some bandages under the situation. The first aid has been popped as well. Cairo just trying to create that distraction with that smoke. Is his teammate going to be able to catch the circle or not? But look at that. Crypto is the last guy standing, and he's under the bridge.
He's the last one. He's the last one. He's the last hope for his team for this moment at least. But the right moment is we're getting to see with North Esports are trying to take the fight against 52 Rage. I mean, Hamzi is still finding himself in the blues. He doesn't have any other option rather than to
He's going to make the run. He's going to make the run now.
He's trying to make a move. He's trying to make a move. As for the moment, he's using the buggy. But as soon as the players from the sides of obviously North Esports will rise, it will be too late for him as now Snow has been spotted down in the open and he falls down thanks to that onslaught that is coming in. But Cairo is still there. But Hamzi, as soon as he finds himself into the circle, it was still the circle that has made a shift and leaving all these teams away. It is going to do an elimination for Team Star, but on a different tangent, it is going to be no stopping for Quraysh as now they are trying to get more and more fights, and we are getting to see obviously freestyles that are featuring again and again into the kill feed.
Well, certainly freestyle are regularly featuring on the kill feed. They're just making the maximum of the opportunity that they have got here. 2 kills already in their tally. They've got all the 4 players standing, but they're controlling a very important part of the circle right now. Look at North Esports. Zamin, he's just allowing this rotation from Cairo, and maybe he might just follow them because he's got a buggy to play with. But on the other side, QWERTY Esports, what an amazing shot incoming, eliminated, and at the same instant, Nocto, he got run over by a car, and there are 3 teams that have been eliminated now after Stars, ZARAR go down, and even QWERTY Esports.
Team QWERTY, they are on a charges now. Wolverine is trying to take the fight. Rahman goes down eventually, and he needs the revive for the moment, and Khan is also on his knees. That leaves down to Voltrex and Wolverine. That means only 1 player active that will taking the fight, but they are really making sure that a lot of them is pulled onto the bodies, and a lot of peppered bullets are onto the body of Team Grounders, and now Sensei is trying to take the fight. Woltrex is trying to take this fight, but in all this situation, it is going to be a sad demise for I8 as they now leave the lobby with just the 3 kills.
But just 3 points for I8 in this opening game. That means pressure on them for the remaining 3 matches. Let's see how they're going to do. But for now, it's the QWERTY show that we are watching. 2 players down from QWERTY. Wolverine down, Khan down. But it is an amazing attempt coming in from Voltrex. He's been pulled down as well. It's now just down to Rahman. Let's see what Rahman is going to pull off for his team. This is Team Bablu hurting Team QWERTY right now. And the players are also playing it stole. But look at Team Bablu go. On one side, they're hurting Team QWERTY. On the other side, they've found Freestyle Black over there and has hurt him down. But third party shots coming. They've been coming from Tyrant. He's got a flank angle for himself, hurting Team Bablu. And what a nade incoming. Girdari as well takes down 420 boy. And this is the elimination for North Esports. But look at Team Bablu, the way they are regrouping. They've got multiple players down and they just are surviving by that smoke over there.
They're holding the northeastern side of the circle with players going down. They still have the chance to get the revival done. But will Freestyle allow them? Will Tyrant allow them? Is that enough for them? That is going to be the big question. But in all doing so, it is going to be big elimination obviously for Team QWERTY, and following them, it is going to be UNBxNF just with 3 kills. But in doing so, it is still 4 kills with which Freestyles are surviving. But the position is certainly susceptible one because they are finding themselves in the open position. They are holding the northeastern edge, and some players, some teams are on the back end side. That means they need to clear the back. And which team it is going to be? It is going to be Team Clarity.
Well, yes, Team Clarity behind them doing the regrouping, and Freestyle have an idea, right? They lost some of the players, and their Tyrant even gave a knock a little while earlier, so he exactly knows where Team Bablu is trying to regroup. A big nade might just do the damage to them. But Team Bablu on the other side, they've spotted the last lad remaining over there and eliminating them as well. So they've cleared the flank angles for themselves. That is Team Grounders that they just eliminated. Now they've got to deal with the gatekeeping situation. The blue is going to start shrinking now, so they go in for the longer rotation because they've realized that they've just cleared up a little bit of a space by removing Grounders out of the equation. But look at Team Bablu go. They've not gone for the entire rotation there. They've gone on foot. They want to clear up Freestyle as well on their own. This is Dani and Wolf. What an amazing stance coming in from them. Let's see what they're going to do. Okay, Dani and Zibian out here. It's a 2v2 situation. Team Bablu up against Freestyle.
And they are not going down. They are not going down. They are trying to take the revenge on which QWERTY was just trying to make a move a moment ago. But on doing so, it was going to be Malik that has now fallen down. That leaves just 1 player alive from the sides of FS. And I'm sure that Clarity has the smallest of this info. With Dani on that flank angle, it can be a sandwich situation. Obviously, that is going to be for Freestyles, but Alone is still surviving from one team, and this is going to be big chance. But as soon as Ziban falls himself on that position, it is going to be him that will take him down. Tyrant gets 1 more knock, 1 more kill, and this team is looking absolutely bonk at this moment. But some teams that are looking pretty strong, and that is coming in from the southeastern side, and that is obviously going to be of NFP Sky's foot. But the moment I said it is going to be them getting pinced down, but UAGxTUF getting eliminated.
They were 4 men strong just a minute while ago, and now they've been eliminated. This is modified, giving them some damage. Even Team Sky have pinned them down over here. This is not looking a very good stance for them. Look at the split on Team Sky right now. Look at where Khatir is. They're really looking to control the final circles over here, and the position for Dani is not really good. On one side, he's got Tyrant, but on the other side, he's got more enemies to deal with. That is not a good situation to be in. This is IB Esports very close to them. Just 2 players surviving with a little bit of a cover. cover over there, but that does not give Dani the breathing space he requires.
The banter doesn't end. The banter doesn't end here as the circle shift will actually decide the fate of all these teams. But still, it is going to be 1-1 player each surviving from the sides of Clarity and obviously going to be from the sides of Team QWERTY. But now, Team Sky really have the right setup on Bablu, Dani. You do one small rookie mistake and you will be punished. You will send out the lobby. But still, NFP Sky, Halsey just got a lot of damage on the left hand side. But Dani has been spotted down from multiple players from the side of Team Sky. That means Team Sky know the exact position where Dani is happening for this moment. But the circle has gone for the shift and that is completely dominating one team, and that is going to be of Team Flex. That means two players still alive. If they play their cards well, they really have a good chance. But on a different tangent, the southeastern side team that is obviously going to be of Modified, they too really have a good chance because we just saw with that Hawk's Eye, they really have some good edges to play. And since now the Flex teams have been pincered down, that really gives one chance for the team on the southeastern side, obviously for this team Modified on your TV screens, to get close to the chicken.
Well, they certainly do, and they've got the man advantage to do that as well, right? They just move a player inside, step in closer to the circle. They've got the smokes deployed. They're just charging in over there. Looks like a decent, easy check-in for them. But we've got Dani here, freestyle eliminated now. On one side, we've got the lads of Sky who are just trying to pull off this chicken dinner for themselves, and he pulls down alone. So Ivy has just gone down to one last player. Revenge over there, and pressure being applied by Sky on Dani as well. Katir, he's been caught off guard and he's been given some damage from Modified. It's their chicken for the taking. But are they going to be allowed from Team Sky? That is going to be something to watch out for. 3v3 situation. And among this, we've got two solo Avengers fighting for themselves. Dani and Revenge. Under constant pressure, the utilities are being deployed on Dani. Revenge just surviving over there. Look at there. What a minimum amount of cover for him. Just a small buggy, a tree to play with. And Team Sky. Even he's trying utilities on Dani.
Is this a piece? Is this a piece before a storm? Is this a piece before a storm? As we are now heading towards the 27th middle of circle, and as slowly and steadily the pace is being built up as now Team Sky, now they're in a prone position as now slowly and steadily the player trying to pin down, but still Dani has made sure that he hasn't given an inch of his exposed body for let the Team Sky to get peppered onto him. All credits to him, 100 out of 100 points in terms of the way he has hidden himself behind that McLaren and behind that big tree trunk. But it's now up to the Team Sky that really need to take the fight. But Revenge is making a big damage. Revenge is making a big dent onto Dani, and that leaves him in the blues. Dani doesn't have any other option than just to find himself onto the foot, and in doing so, it will be him going down. But before that going to be happen, Dani doesn't miss a chance to pull one player back on his knees, and Halsey goes down. It is up to Kian whether he gives him revival or before not he will be given the revival or not. We have to still wait for that.
What a knock on Halsey. What a knock on Halsey. He does not have a cover to play with, but he still pinned down the lad over there. And what an amazing... it was Kian he was pinning down. Yes, it was Kian he was pinning down in open grounds without any cover. If you'll come out of the cover, I'll pin you down. That was the statement from Dani, but now he's out of the action. So no 15 points for Clarity, but now Modified. They try to create an opening. They've got Katir. He was just trying to pull off that 2-1 split under this situation as well. This is not looking good for Sky now. Look at that, 11% on the forecast. They really need to do some regrouping at this point.
Amish.
The problem for Modified, if they commit now, they've got a player on the flank angle.
Exactly. I mean, that can
How are they going to deal with that?
them.
And that is why you see them still prone. Waiting to take this flank angle player off. They know that Revenge is there, but they don't have any clear idea how many players. And that is why they're skeptical. They're being so silent. This is a 3v3 versus 1 situation, and Revenge might just be the catalyst over here. Let's see who is he going to backstab.
That can be the case. That can certainly be the case. But Katir, it seems that he has got a lot of shots coming in from the sides of Revenge. And obviously, this is one big chance that NFP Sky needs to ridicule and eradicate Revenge in order to get close to the chicken.
Ooh, Katir
but
bleeding
Katir is bleeding out slowly and steadily, and he will be finished off. At the kill has gone down to Modified Amish. This brings down to 3 players surviving. And Bullet knows since Revenge gave a lot of shots, but Bullet exactly know where Revenge is hiding him. But before that happens, it is going to be Bullet that will be getting a lot of shots. And before that happens, it's going to be him itself that does one small mistake, and in that overconfidence he will be taken down for sure. And not only taken down, he has been finished, but Bubba is still not able to find him out.
He's possible. Oh, but he takes him down. But he takes him down. Revenge has hurt them badly. He's taken 2 players down over there. Wow. And now Kian gets spotted. This is a 1v1
Amish.
situation. Healthy just standing with Amish onto this position. Let's see who's going to go away with the 1v1. Bubba just trying to move ahead and trying to give away the position. 15 points for the taking for the opening game of the regional finale. PMCO Fall Split 2021. We've got a 1v1 situation. NFP Sky Healthy. You can't get a better position than this to get the all-important 15 points. They've done the hard work. They've reached the final circle. Just one last final hurdle in front of Healthy, but he's looking in a different direction completely. Amish might just spot him. He's not spotted this movement as well. 1v1, both prone in. Completely no information whatsoever. This is an M4 versus M4 fair fight. Let's see who's going to spot who.
25 bullet was there, but still he has
Oh,
gone for
LC
that
spots.
reload.
LC spots and 15 points for NFP Sky.
What a game, what a start, what a bonker start where we had to, and we just got to see the NFP Skies was getting close towards that chicken. 11 kills is what they did, secure 20 total points and a massive damage, 1567. In this sort of lobby, the players were finding themselves in the prone position, but still enough for them to get that 1567 damage.
Well, certainly it was an amazing game coming in from Team Sky. The way they were controlling, and even remember when Team Bablu and Freestyle were going up against each other, it was Sky in the backdrops that was maintaining the numbers in their favor, and that is really what helped them. Even even NF was doing the same strategy, but it did not help them in the long run over there.
They just find themselves in sort of a real good fight because the way they were positioning them, they were slowly and steadily coming in. There was a big split, if you remember. There was a 2-1 split, and that certainly hurt their chance in terms of what they did secure. But what a spotting. I mean, talk about Amish gameplay in that situation. He took 2 players down from the sides of NFP, 1 player down from the sides of from Flex Revenge, and then it was an all easy affair for them. You just remember, he just got for that last reload, 25 bullets to 40. I guess that was the moment because you got to see a lot of sound cues. Even if you try to reload, there is sound cues in proximity that get dispersed and resulting them that he perished on. But what a game for NFP Sky Sports, but well defined by Modified, because Modified, they jumped towards the same angle and Circle was coming in slowly and steadily. We remember the rotation that came in from the sides of Modified. He made a longer rotation. The team eventually, not he, the team eventually made a longer rotation coming in from the northern side, and they stationed themselves on the northeastern side of Circles. Bringing in 3 players was just one good game. And you talk about the numbers advantage. I mean, both the teams were on 3 versus 3 situation. In that situation, it was an easy affair for NFP to pick them down. But before that, it is going to be the most valuable player for the moment, and that is obviously gonna be of Healthy. I mean, this was the guy, this was the star performer. I mean, everything goes towards him as he gets 6 kills, 695 damage, 28 with 20 seconds, healing done, 260, a 0 assist.
Well, certainly, and he's been the standout player for his team, and he just managed that important 1v1 situation at a very crux time for his team, and he got multiple kills inside the final circle as well. It was Revenge towards the end who just played the X factor, and I think it just really hurt the chances of Modified, but Healthy still had to convert. That 1v1 was really important, and he made sure to stand up on the occasion and deliver.
And he was in a dip sort of situation where the curve wall was against him, but since it was Jameez coming in slowly and steadily, we got to see some real good games coming in as 6 kill is what he is for the moment with 695 damage, as just perfectly mentioned. But what a game. I mean, it was not an easy situation for them to go for the 2-1 split, but certainly this was one thing that actually helped them for this moment. And moving on along, we talk about the top players where we again get to see Healthy from the sides of NFP Sky Esports getting the important kill. But Amish, I mean, this lad need appraisal. 596 damage, 4 kill is what he secures for the moment. But Bablu Dani, I mean, what a game for Clarity Esports indeed.
Well, certainly an amazing game for Clarity Esports. The way they controlled the mid game was really amazing. From the northern part of the circle, no teams were allowed an easy passage. They were clearing out their backlines beautifully. They were making sure to give an impact on the teams that were doing the gatekeeping as well, and that is why you see that big numbers coming onto Dani's side. Even Zibian was really amazing, and look at Khatir as well. 500 damage for NFP Sky. He's played a very important pivotal role over here.
Definitely, but for the moment, moving on along, we have the match summary where we got to see a lot of players chiming in, and this time it was Healthy finding himself in 2 columns, 6. Most utilities used was also 10 for him and 6. I mean, the damage was still there, but Momtu with that longest distance kill. How often do we get to see 325 meters in a game of Erangel?
Well,
this is something... Exactly.
Well, Momtu, he's a special player, right, from Portal Esports. Portal Esports and all did not have a really good game over here, but Momtu made sure to feature over here with 325. But look at this. Tyrant with that highest damage in the overall game. The way the freestyle is making a statement, they're looking like a completely different team.
Indeed, it is going to be the case, but obviously some players really made it possible for them, as QWERTY's Rahman with a total of 2 maximum assists. I mean, this was also a good game for the moment, but moving on along, we have the match ranking day 1. Obviously, that was a match 1 where Team Sky getting those important 11 kills and those important 15 points. Total acclimating makes a total of 26, as we got to see with Modified following them next, and a lot of teams that have really got some good numbers. Talk about Freestyle, Quraysh Esports, and down the line, we got to see EV Esports with 11 points too.
Well, certainly, but IA did not have a good opener. UNBNF did not have a good opener. North Esports with just 6 points. ZARAR Esports on the page number 2 of the match ranking. These are not good signs for the teams, and so it's going to be very pressure Miramar upcoming, and that is exactly what I'm waiting for.
I guess IIT Esports was just caught in rotation. You remember they made some successful rotation from the Novo Ripnor Bridge, but as soon as they found themselves in centralized position, you remember in the wheat farm area downtown towards the area of Yasnaya Polana, one player was eliminated, and as soon as the circle went for a shift, they were trying to pincer down the player. They did pincer down the player of Freestyle, but somewhere down the line they did perish. But for the moment, these are the Oppo F19 Pro moments that we'll get to see as we'll getting the rehash of the memories, and these are the recaps as we got to see the fight started erupting, not in the early stage of the game, but it started in the itself 10-minute 30-second mark of that.
This is the early mid-game mark, and we saw some collisions over there. Even it was a very worryful moment for the team of I8 getting caught out in open fields just outside Yasnaya, but later on they just regrouped, and that is a strong team. You get away from crux situations and get people outside, and that is really important, which they did, but could not get enough points out of the game over here. But QWERTY, just like they always do, they tried to dominate the late mid game, but they got picked off, and it was the beauty of Clarity Esports. Team Bablu picking on all the teams. Look at them, they're hurting even Freestyle, they were hurting teams coming in from the backlines, and look at that. Talent does pull that off, but inside the final circle, even Dani, he survived for such a long time. That audacity to sit out in the open with a 3x in his hand on the UMP and just waiting for that peak. It was not an easy job over there.
Indeed, it was not an easy job for at least all these teams, but then we got to see this 1v1 fight where Halsey was the better off, and he had the numbers on for the moment. But it is going to be total damage, the damage histogram where we get to see a big spike into the name of Freestyle, but just the 5 kills, 1718 damage. That means the team really tried to dominate, as you just mentioned a moment ago. The team really was trying to dominate this complete lobby, and 1718 damage does justify it. But 1567 is where Sky stands, and 834 is where Modified stand, but Clarity also the one team that was really the standout performance.
Well, certainly it was a standard performance coming in for them, and big skyscrapers towards the left hand side of the total damage mark that we can see. But look at Modified with just 834 damage, they managed 6 kills for them. Upcoming game of Miramar would come. That is going to be very crucial. Teams like I8 and other teams who did not get a really good start in this opening game of Erangel, they're going to be under the radar now.
Exactly. I mean, with this one game done, we are to a solid start, to a bonker start. But the other game, that is going to be of Miramar, and that is going to be on the other side of the break. Stick around.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? We're kicking up the dust, if you know what I mean. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going on.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open. Of course, this is going to be the Pakistan region, Day 1 regional finals. And what a start, we just head towards NFP Sky, getting that one important chicken and a lot of kill points. And in doing so, it was also modified that really showed the resistance. But game 1 is done. But the action is not yet done, as we are heading towards the Miramar action. So what are expectations? I mean, we have seen in the past that Clarity, that is obviously the Clarity Bablu. In the past, we have seen the track record of Bablu. And since in the last game itself, they looked completely in the grooves. Talk about the kill points, talk about the last player that was surviving. The resistance was there, the prowess was there, the gunpowder is still there, and it is going to be the second game of Miramar that we head towards. As the flight path is already on its way from the El Pozo towards the area of Puerto Palacio. But my question still remains unanswered.
Well, the smartness always plays a role, right? You got to be really, really aware about the situations, how they are going to deal with it. And just like you mentioned inside the final circles as well, Halsey just noticing that sound cues over there, that is smartness, right? You don't have to reload a gun when you've got 25 magazines already in a 1v1 situation. And that really did hurt Modified over there. And that was a really nice spotting coming in from your side. But now, towards this game of Miramar, El Pozo, ZARAR, they were always the favorites to go towards El Pozo, towards Montenuevo. We have got Team NFP Sky over here and Team Bablu just moving their way slowly towards the city of Valdemar. It's a very decent start for these teams. I don't see a lot of collisions happening over here, but on paper as well, we got multiple teams around the Los Llanos area with I8 over there at North Esports, but these teams know to coexist, right?
Yeah.
Wow. But the circle, completely a different curveball over here. Even Campo Militar is inside the play area. Toria Humada, Crozwell, Al-Azhar, all these cities inside the circle. So they're going to be big, big rotations incoming.
That is going to be the case. That is certainly going to be the case. We got to see a lot of congestions already developing as the players are slowly and steadily moving towards the drop location. But as you just mentioned, Los Llanos, I mean, they know how to coexist. But since North Esports are on to the complete southern side, it seems that QWERTY is finding themselves in a bit of early scuffle. I'm still just waiting to see if the visuals actually comes in, and then we get to see which team against them they are trying to fight their metal out. But for the moment, it seems that yes, they are finding themselves in a vicinity close to where Team Flex is actually present, with players are aligned in the same position. They are moving towards the area of Hacienda del Petron, and if they make one mistake to move an inch closer towards the area of San Martin City, that will be the moment where Team Grounders can hurt their chances and can put a big dent onto the low. I don't understand what sort of strategy are they trying to actually maneuver for the moment, because on the southern side of Hacienda del Petron is where QWERTY is stationed and the main city is being occupied by Flex, and onto that western side, that's still TG. They still can survive, as just mentioned, they can still coexist, but they need to make sure that they get all those vehicles spawned around as soon as possible.
I don't think that Team QWERTY was going to station themselves over there, because they traditionally go towards San Martin, right? But when they notice the parachutes, even they would have done the homework. They know that Team Grounders is going to be inside San Martin. So when they were just flowing in, gliding towards the city, they realized that the circle has already shifted towards this side. So they just opted for that. They opted for the vehicle option over there. Just let's pick up the vehicle and be the first one to occupy the central areas of the map. And they're just looting up the initial loot and just circling the areas around Hacienda de Petron. They've gone a little bit towards the eastern side of Hacienda de Petron, and there's going to be a rotation incoming from them very soon.
That is going to be that is certainly going to be the case. As you perfectly mentioned, we are getting to see UAGxTUF. I mean, this team is also looking pretty fantastic at this moment. In the last game itself, 11 points is what they secured, along with the skill and placement points. But this time itself, they are finding themselves in a pretty good position with all the 4 players alive. Last time it was just the 1 player alive, that was Revenge. But now since all the 4 players alive at the early stage of the game, now as just mentioned, I mean, Hacienda del Petron is where still QWERTY's Khan is finding himself into the same position. But it seems that other players are in the same vicinity, but still far away. But it seems that damage and those early danger has been averted for now.
Well, the Igel is flirting with danger out here. Let's see how he's going to deal with this if the situation goes out of hand. These compounds are certainly not necessary for them to loot up, but they're just looting it because they like to control the game right from the word go from this part of the map. And you might just see them engage in a fight very soon with these teams in the nearby vicinity. We've got UAGxTUF over here. We've got Team Grounders looting up San Martin. And this can just be the perfect start. And look at this. The entire city of Picado available for UNBxNF over here. They're just looting up the city beautifully. And they will have a good loot. They will have some good vehicles to control this game. But the problem is that Picado, which generally is inside the circle, this time is finding itself towards the southwest side of this existing first circle. So they just got to make those loot early and maybe move towards a more centralized area. That is going to be something to watch out. And that's a pretty standard thing that teams do nowadays.
Exactly, indeed, that is going to be the case as just mentioned. As now modified, I mean, they are also looking up to loot all these areas and then might go for those early rotation. They have to, because it is the players that are still 800 meter away. But Lost Leones is where we get to see the big name, the big team. Obviously, that is going to be of i8 Esports with reviews on our TV screen. Now it was Crypto, and slowly and steady things are changing. The pace are being built up. Just the 300 meter, not a big task, but the number of team that has already aligned onto the southern side, they might just face a challenge, because in the last game itself, they just found themselves in sort of unsettled rotations. We're trying to make so, but since this is a big team, they have played humongous amount of Miramar, and they know where the position, where the exact teams actually position themselves, and they are pretty much wise in terms of their rotation. But for the moment, it is going to be UAGxTUF, the team that really showed the prowess, the toughness in the last match itself, just trying to find themselves into the area of Chumasera, and now the player have to make a rotation. 1700 meters, some players do have 1400 meters. That means the player are in a split situations, all 4 players in the same vicinity, just trying to loot out the compound. And as soon as they will be getting all those vehicles spawned in the same area, I mean, they will be going for the loot. But one thing is for sure, Chumasera offers you a lot of loot. All the 4 players will be getting their backpack completely full.
Well, certainly. That's a big city for an entire team. We have seen in different regions as well that more than one teams have dropped inside Chumasera, got a good decent loot, and then made their rotation. So for one team, it's a very good enough amount of loot that you can get out of Chumasera. But the important thing, no early collisions even inside Miramar. So the teams are doing their homework, the analysts are doing their jobs, and they're just making sure to rally the right amount of information to the idols over there, and they're just using it beautifully. And they're just making sure that there are no early collisions for any team whatsoever. Even Team QWERTY, they love to go towards San Martin, but they realized that there were multiple teams already inside the vicinity. So why not just alter your drop location a little bit so that you can get good loot and then maybe control the mid game over here, which we are approaching to now. Down to the 7-minute mark. No players still knocked down so far.
Junkyard. I mean, there's where we got to see 52 Rage position with Cairo onto that lead in front. For the moment, last game itself, Cairo was the one standout performer, and he is the X factor. Indeed, in the semi-final itself, we just saw the team actually performing, and whenever Cairo performed, it was so easy for 52 Rage Esports, and that was the reason they got a lot of 145 points, if I'm not wrong, in the time of semi-finals. And now, since they are stepping into the region finals, they have to up their ante. They have to actually increase their sort of gun gameplay, and the plan which they come up, that has to be certainly altered, because there are big teams in the lobby, as you just mentioned to see. There are i8, there are QWERTY, there are a lot of big teams, but for the moment everybody is on a run, and so we get to see Team Star is also on a run.
Well, we just saw Team i8 make that rotation, right? 7.5 minutes inside the game. They've looted up. They've got 4 vehicles for themselves. This is a world-class team. They've done this, just like you mentioned, humongous number of times inside Miramar, and that is exactly what they are doing once again. Just going for the circle, just trying to play the center, looting up quickly and taking control of the game, and that is exactly what we have seen them do so many times. So once again, i8 inside rotations, but other teams, they're still struggling to find vehicles for themselves, even towards the southern part of the city of Los Leonos. We saw one of the teams just looking for some vehicles, and we have already got some collisions happening. This is ZARAR, who have just knocked a player over here. Let's see if he's going to confirm. Yes, he's going to confirm. Vaz, and Kronos gets the first blood, and Vaz just helps him to complete that kill over there. But now, this is the situation we were talking about, right? QWERTY looting up and taking control of the nearby vicinity. They've found grounders, and Shabada, he's under some trouble from that flank angle of Rahman. Those are going to be 2 angles to cover for the team, and they're certainly going to miss out on this opportunity. And Wolverine and his team once again trying to control the mid game, but this is forcing Team Grounders to get away from the situation, and they're being chased away as well. Shots being fired on the retreating vehicles. This is Team QWERTY's domination.
And on some different tangent, it is going to be Alone from some different team that is on a charge, rather on a receiving end, as he is now being hounded down from 2 different directions, as now Kronos is making a move close to us. If Vaz is fallen down, that means he needs a revival, but Alone was left all alone in all these situations. But now Alone is getting a lot of cover fire from different directions, but he's also getting a lot of support. But it seems that Alone is anonymous of the different directions from here. He can fall down, but in 1 minute fight, M249 has fallen down, as now Alone takes 1 knock again, and this is going to be second knock for him, but still in no kill confirmed, but he's on a charge. He is on a charge as you're trying to take the fight. Tried to take a fight, but Baz this time, he really had his numbers on and he really tried to outplay him, thus resulting one more knock, one more kill onto them. But KSF, as you just got to see, it seems that KSX will be finishing things off as the revival is pretty much impossible for the moment. But for the direction, it is going to be KSF that will be falling down, as now Sirius is dealing some serious blow onto the players of UAGxTUF.
That was so important, right, for the revive to be held over there. And what an amazing knock coming in at the right time from Sirius. Just giving that opportunity to Vaz to hold on to that revive, and they're not going to lose any player. Kudos to that knock over there. This was not an aggressive knock. This was a defensive knock. It was a strategic knock. They were just buying time for themselves to hold that revive on Kronos, who was just on the verge of bleeding out over there. He's just been able to survive due to that beautiful knock coming in from Sirius. But now they're going to aggress. They've already got multiple angles to play with. Vaz on the second floor of that blue house, and Sirius committed it towards here, but the commitment is going to hurt him because Revenge, just like the final circle, he's got a flank angle to play here as well. And look at that follow-up net. Looks good. This might just be the second knock with that net. Barely alive over there, Bonga. It's a very difficult situation for them to handle, and Vaz has committed himself out in the open. The blue zone is also here to play its toll, and the follow-up net, this is going to be dangerous. Let's see ZARAR if they're going to survive this. It just bounces away. Somehow they survive.
Still surviving. Baz was on a charge and a desperation move was already on there, but realizing the situation, no kill has been secured from the sides of UAGxTUF. That means they try to take the knock, they try to take the fight, but now is the moment that they will be making a move into the zone. They don't have really huge amount of first aid that can actually help them take the fight if they even decide to. Rather on a different tangent, it was a 4v2 fight, but still Revenge got those important knocks that really helped them go for the rotation. But on a different move, we just got to see the circle that will be making a shift in a moment. So, and before that happens, it is going to be a lot of ruckus, a lot of chaos, a lot of turmoil that we can expect, as now 4 different players from the sides of QWERTY are in a 4 different split. Onto the eastern side of El-Azhar is where Kar and Wolverines has positioned himself, and onto the right hand side it's going to be Rahman and one more player that are holding the important ridges, where we get to see El-Azhar fights can erupt at any moment, and this is one good fight, one good maneuver that can actually help QWERTY get closer and closer towards their 15 important points.
Well, if they're going to execute this 2-2 split on that distance, it's going to be some ballsy move coming in from them.
No,
but let's see. Yeah, they're already moving, regrouping, and they're just waiting for the circle to shape up, right? They've got information from different ridges around the city of El-Azhar, and now they know that there's no team inside El-Azhar as well, so they've just kept their options open, and now they're going to make their move. So they're just going to move towards where Rahman and Voltrix are right now. But the problem for that is all those teams coming in from the northern side, they are not going to move towards the city of El-Azhar. So that is going to be the passageway. They're just inside the way for at least 3 to 4 teams. So either it's a high fragging game for QWERTY, or they might just go down. So they got to decide if they want to stay at that position or move a little bit towards the center half of the circle.
I guess the latter one would be more approachable. That will certainly be the case. But for the moment, it is going to be UNBxNF that is finding themselves in an open position, just trying to pincer down the players of 52 Rage. And it seems that they have been bruised off to an extent that the player needs a revive. With Hamzi on a different flank angle, has his location been revealed? That is going to be the one big question. But now one player has been eliminated as Max has left the lobby. But the way they are trying to make a move, it is going to be Bablu. That is going to be with the QWERTY Esports that has on the back end side, and still Rage Esports is just looking to take up the fight. So there are 2-3 different types of approaches that we get to see. Some teams are really looking to play passively, and some teams are really looking to bring up the knock. But in doing so, it is going to be again Cairo. I mentioned this guy's name, and he is living up to his mark.
Well, certainly, and SLR is always a delight to watch, right? As a caster, you always wait for players to give up you that DMR action, use an SLR or maybe an SKS, which has just been out of fashion lately. But let's see, let's hope a buff comes on that gun as well. I really love that gun. But now we see these actions coming in from this SLR right now, and this is a 6-6 scope. He's just taking random shots with that. Yeah?
Full 6, that's what he's using.
Yeah.
I mean,
perfectly, you can do that on the SLR, right? You have that liberty. You don't have to control the spray through the gyro, and just the full 6-6 is going to give you more control, even more range, and even more accuracy with that scope. And this is an SLR coming in from Cairo, and I would love to see some. I would have my eye on the kill feed for some knocks coming in. Even modified bullet, the vehicle might just be getting some damage, and the coupe is taking some shots as well. Then the tire gets popped off. The tire gets popped off. That coupe is of no use now.
The tire has certainly been flattened as now Portal Esports, we just got to see Modified bringing one more knock. That means Rage knows that there are certain teams that are trying to make a come in from different directions. But the Rage is certainly favoring the elevation. That small hillock is certainly favoring for the time for 52 Rage Esports. But this SLR from the sides of Caro has really made a big dent. And that will be one good thing that the teams really had upon. But now it seems that UNB are just trying to pepper down some bullets onto the players. And this is one team that doesn't shy away from taking any fight. But till now, apart from those early skirmishes, we are still in that position where the players are just trying to pincer down the player, just trying to flatten the vehicle, just trying to, relocate, not let the players have a safe passage. But now it seems that now Clarity will be having a good end onto the players of UNF as now they are trying to make a move. Northern side, they are holding the edge of the circle. Dip is where Clarity is finding themselves up to. The fight will be really on.
Well, it is really going to be, but just now keep an eye on Modified. The way the game is going to change because of that coup loss that they've done over there. They could have... Oh, shots incoming! Voltrux, he eliminates one of the guy. With that Scar L6s, he's given a lot of damage to Cronus. ZARAR losing on 2 players. Not a good sign, but they've already got 3 kills for their tally, Team QWERTY. But coming back to that point, I think they should have done a really better job in keeping their vehicles intact. When those shots started coming in, they should have realized that the coup is really exposed and you got to really use your vehicles importantly. And that was something that might just hurt them as the circle next circle is just shaped over here. It's going to be really important where they're going to find themselves. Modified for now, they look like they're inside the circle, but do they have enough vehicles? Because the 4th circle has favored you, right? But if the 5th is going to favor or not, that is going to be a completely different ballgame.
Exactly, and that, they really need to find some different alternatives, some different route. Do they have enough of vehicle? And that is going to be the one big question. But as soon as the circle has gone for a shift, there is a lot of truckers that is going on, and complete traffic is where we're heading towards on the eastern side of circle. Now, the teams are trying to pincer down the players on the eastern side, and they are making it possible. I8 Reviews brings one knock onto Black, and there we go. Zibyan also brings one knock, and it seems that now Bablu will be completely committing onto the players of UNF as now slowly and steady the fight is building up. But now 1v1 fight, here we go. Wolf brings one more knock and he is certainly on a charge, but it seems that it's just a matter of a moment. A drop shot comes into play and Zibyan puts the final nail in the coffin, and this is what the domination is known for Bablu East.
Well, yes, they committed to the fight. All 4 players coming into the equation, making sure that none of the player gets lost over here, and then they get back in all the 4 points from this encounter. This is a mid-game fight that Team Bablu has won, and that is certainly going to add on to their confidence, something that they really needed to get going inside this Miramar game. And who are known as the king of Miramars in the region? It's Team Bablu, and they're just starting to show their colors already as the late game approaches. These are multiple teams inside the closing 4th circle that are finding themselves against each other. Vaz, very close, being pinned down. This is not a good situation for him, and Team Star on a different angle have got really flank positions to deal with, and Fury just charging inside. Where are you going, my friend? And now he goes behind for those ridges, and that's a really better approach. But UAG, they're already looking good, but Team Bablu going down to 52 Rage.
2 teams actually pinned them down. It was not an easy task. That the moment they tried to make a rotation, it seemed that they eliminated the 4 players from different directions, but it seemed that it was just not enough for them as they're now trying to make a rotation and have been pincered down. But Team Star, as we move towards to see all those visuals coming in, there are a lot of exchange of grenades and utilities and still smokes, and that brings one more knock as now Edgar's bring one knock. So now Edgar is also one of the players we saw in the semi-finals with the highest amount of kill, 35, and he is living up to the expectation as now Team Star is being completely pincered down. It is going to be Anonymous on a completely different tangent, Loser on a completely different tangent, but no, Loser again falls down. That leaves one solo player standing from the sides of Team Star, and that is going to be Anonymous. It's seen the Anonymous location is still anonymous to UAG, else he could have been brought down, but it's just going to be a matter of seconds because they are just hunting them down. UAGxTUF is completely on a berserk mode, but on a different tangent. Again, one more player falls down, and this was a moment where you just said, Bablu owns the Miramar, but certainly they are perishing like 9 pins.
So you're just trying to tell that I cursed them?
But the caster's curse is what we are up to.
Well, let's see if that's going to be the scene or not, because Bablu, they've already got 4 points in their tally, but they're just down to one last lad who's surviving over there. So this Miramar just might go away from them. But Team QWERTY have got a different story to write in this game as well. They've already got 3 kills under their belt. They've got 4 players alive, and so is IA. They're also looking decent with 2 kills already. They've been so silent, notice, during this mid-game. You know that? What does that mean? That QWERTY is eyeing a comeback. They are on for the chicken over here. Rayman goes down, so Team QWERTY, they really need to read the situation better. And Team Sky just posing a lot of problems for them. Kathir with the red 249 takes Voltrix down. This is a very difficult situation for Team QWERTY to read. enemy group and they're just getting pinned down. That is the vibe. That is the vibe on Team QWERTY. They have been eliminated with those just 3 kills in seconds. I'm cursing teams back to back over here. And let's see how the teams are going to deal with the situation. And there's one more team just entering into the equation very close to where Team Sky is right now. And they're just holding the lines beautifully until Halsey gets picked off. NFP Sky, they really got to deal with the situation better. Otherwise, UAG might just wipe them. They're going to be under a lot of pressure. And this fight is being executed outside the circles. The blue zone is going to be here pretty soon. How are they going to deal with this? Halsey eliminated. Team Sky falling in numbers. And they have been eliminated out of the game. It is Team Grounders Sensi also taking some shots on them.
Exactly, the Grounders really made it possible for UAG because they were trying to take up the fight head on head, but all courtesy to obviously the Grounders, and they have brought some real good numbers for them, and they are really pretty strong for them. And 3 killers where the Grounders are standing, and with just the 1 player lot, we are heading towards the 20 minutes of the circle. It is still 21 minutes on the mark, and now UAGTUF, they are moving into the central lines of the circle with just those bruised off vehicle. Is it going to be enough for them? That is going to be the one big question. But for the Esports, they have spotted down. They spotted on the rotation because they brought 1 big player down, and now it seems that this time it is going to be where Edgar has fallen down. Some now grenades and Molotovs have been completely held down. Virus just survives on Super HP, but for how long? No long, as now Daku brings 1 more knock onto the face, and Virus will be completely finished off. And in all those small crates, those blue crates, I mean, this is not looking good. They are in a predicament. They need to find themselves out of that cataclysm, else they will be taken down for sure.
Well, Portal Esports have got their eyes on these 2 teams as well. It's not looking a very good situation for either of them. Even Vaz is there inside the backdrop. He's just trying to get his space inside the circle. Dani picks up a kill over there. He's got one of the lads from Modified as well. And now UZM goes down. This is Freestyle versus I8 once again happening. And Blade is looking towards the left-hand side of the kill feed quite often over there. So that means I8 are just getting some more and more kills in their tally. How they have tallied up 6 kills already. Then Crypto coming in with an AUG in this game. Let's see what this lad is going to pull off in this Miramar game. And Freestyle, it looks like they are getting some good numbers. But where are they? Eliminated! Freestyle eliminated, and this is Team I8 dominating over them.
Dani is not stopping. Dani is certainly not stopping for the moment as he brings some of the more knocks for the moment, as now North Esports still trying to pin down the players of UAG, but UAG just trying to make a move from the left hand side, but is it going to be enough distance for them? But now Edgar brings 1 more knock, and now Thor goes down. ZARAR Esports on a different tangent has been eliminated, but certainly UAGTUF has certainly got a tough resistance in that area because there were 2 teams, not 2, it was 1 more lad from the side of ZARAR, and that was Vast. But in doing so, it is going to be UAG that have successfully eliminated 1 player last standing. That was obviously Vast, and in doing so, it is going to be not an easy task as he falters down again and again. He perishes down, but in doing so, it is going to be constant pressure that has been built down from the side of Portal Esports, and Momto is looking up to secure more and more kills. 2 is what he's standing at this moment. All 4 players are alive. The circle has shifted away from all these teams, and no other teams is left into the circle.
It's a very important thing that North Esports is executing there right now. They know that there is a team just present on top of them, so they're just making sure to block that angle for that team. Look at the use of smokes very close to the place where they are standing. Snow, Ghosta, Zamin, they've just lost Daku for sure, but they've created that good amount of cover for themselves, and now they're trying to pin down this rotation coming in from UAG, and they know that the circle is incoming, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on UAG, for these are 2 points for the taking for North Esports. And let's see, North Esports realizing the situation. They know that Portal Esports will also go into the rotation over there. They're just playing a beautiful game, handling 2 teams at the very same time. This is looking really good from their part, but they've only got 1 kill tallied up. If they continue the good work, they can just tally some more. Are they going to be able to? But Blade and Reviews go down together. I8 once again, they were on Rampage, but they're going down. Is it Crypto to the rescue once again? Are they surviving? I want to know, but somehow we have got no visuals on them, and UZM just takes down Mani over there. So Quraysh Esports on the right hand side, they're taking some damage from I8. Let's see how far they're going to survive.
We are getting the visuals from the southeastern side of the map where a lot of fights are actually happening. Grenadier is where UZM stand for the win. 1 kill is what he has secured for the moment, but now North Esports duly noting every sort of rotation coming in from the side of UAG, and Edgar has been spotted on, but this smoke cloud is actually helping him because still the 3 players alive, and they just noticed that Portal Esports has gone away from that ridge that you were mentioning that they need to take care of, but all of a sudden North Esports has eliminated Portal Esports, obviously 1 team, but now UAG has gone down, and in doing so, it is going to be now Portal Esports standing on 4 different kills, but 2 more. Crypto on a different tangent, he's also not stopping.
Well, he's not stopping because he's got an AUG in his hand. and kills back to back for them. And if I'm calculating correct, they've already tallied up 9 kills in this game. They were targeting a chicken dinner, and that is what we were looking for. But North Esports get eliminated. Portal Esports survive from southern part of the map. And how many players do you have? Look at I8. They've got 14 kills already. This is I8 just creating a different sort of story completely in the Miramar game. They did not get a good opener, but doesn't mean they're not going to have a very good day. The domination does come in from I8. Quraysh goes down, and this is Team Grounders eliminated. The trade has been taken over there, but we are down to 3 teams, out of which we've got 4 players standing from I8 over here. This is not looking a very good situation, but Portal Esports are here. They've got the numbers in their favor. Blade goes down now. Once again, it's down to Crypto. Let's see how he's going to deal with this. And Naden comes, takes down one more player. Crypto is given a good damage to knock through. He's going to capitalize as well, and this is the elimination of Portal Esports. Crypto has just hit them. Look at that. He's using an M4 and also using an AUG, so multiple usage of the 5.56 ammo. He really needs a good regrouping and support from his teammate to regularly supply him the green ammo that he needs right now.
Look at the ruckus. I mean, ruckus. Look at the ruckus. There are smokes, there are disburst vehicle, and then we got to see those exclusive drops, and still 4 player alive from the sides of Stalwart. I mean, I8, that is going to be a huge challenge for them, as now QE, that is obviously going to be Quraysh Esports. They have a good chance. The analytics show that they have 45% chance, and certainly I8 is getting a lot of numbers advantage. 19 kill is where I8 stands at his own trade on a charge, brings one more knock, and it looks so easy as a 5. They are making it so easy. UZM also on a charge, 3 kill is what, and will get secured with that one more knock, one more kill. They are
Wow, domination, I8, what a domination coming in from them. Tally that is a 21 kill chicken dinner, if my maths is correct. They were 14 before they hit Portal, and they got 3 more after that. 22 kill chicken dinner. What a domination coming in from I8 Esports, and that too in Miramar. We still got an Erangel to go during the day, and anything might happen over there. But I8, they've arrived and announced their arrival already inside the overall rankings. Look at where they're standing. #1 after this game, 37 points. This is the PMCO regional finale opening day, and what a game, what a performance coming in from I8 Esports.
It was not their last game, but certainly they made sure that once they are moving towards the area of Miramar, once they are stepping into this desert island, they will not be leaving any stone unturned. 37 total points is mentioned, and more than 3,000 massive damage is what they have taken chunk off in this match. What a game. Talk about domination. You get to see I8 coming up.
Well, certainly. It was Team Bablu who just sort of shined during the Erangel game, where I8 generally does, but it was Team I8 that just dethroned of the Kings of Miramar completely, and they just took the Miramar map. And now MVP for this game, Reviews. It's not Crypto. He was not for the rescue. It was Reviews who was doing the damage. Out of the 22 kills, he's got 8. I would be really interested to see how many Crypto did get over there. But 1,000 damage coming in from Reviews. He's just been the player that I8 have not used that often inside the recent past. But what a performance coming in from him.
That's a complete stats of one team. I mean, one team could have gotten not even close to. That's 8 kills, 1,039 damage, survival time of 24 minutes, and this action-packed performance, and in that doing so, just the 175 healing done. But moving on along, we have the top players, and in there, we got to see Crypto. I mean, you were mentioning this player name. He just got 6 kills, 380 damage, and survival time. That's also pretty decent, because at the end of the day, we just got to see all the 4 players were standing. I mean, they took the fight, they made the domination, they showed why they are here, and still surviving with all the 4 players alive in the last circle. That was just looking unbelievable stuff.
They launched themselves onto the overall standings over there, and Reviews with the highest kills, Reviews with the highest damage, and Museum with the maximum assists for his team. He's been the backbone that his team requires, and they just capitalize over his performances, and this has been the standard. Look at those numbers, 37. What an emphatic performance coming in. 22 kills inside this lobby, and they were silent during the mid game. They were completely absent during the mid-game, and they show up inside the final circle and get 22 frags for themselves. What an amazing, insane performance from I8 Esports.
There was not much left for teams like Portal, Quraysh and Grounders to take the kills. I mean, you have to take at least 1/3 of the lobby. There is not so much for the rest of the lobby. Portal Esports getting total of 16. I mean, not half of what I8 Esports secured in this match. 37 is what they secured, and then it was 16, the team that came into second. But certain teams did falter out. We talk about UNBxNF, but apart from them, them. Every team in this lobby got a huge amount of kills. Talk about the kills. It is QWERTY 3, it is ZARAR 2, it is 52 Rage Esports. This team was also looking impeccable in a sublime form in the early stage of the game, but as soon as they tried to make an entry, they were just pinged down. But moving on along, we have the Oppo F19 Pro moments, as we will be re-looking at all the moments that just got finished off in this match. And the action started not at the the mid stage of the game, you can still call, because the 9th minute where we've got to see ZARAR Esports that they were making a move, a charge in onto the players of EV, and then this revenge knock was certainly the X factor that brought the team to get closer towards the more placement points. But certainly he did falter down and he did perish on. But then we moved along to the more and more fights where QWERTY Esports were pinched down, and thanks to the Khatig's M249.
What a performance for his team, right? And he just stood up with that M249 on those ridges, pinned down teams. But after that, they had a third-party situation to deal. UAG coming in, and some of the shots were also taken from Team Grounders lads over there as well. They got them down, and this is the moment when Team Grounders went down completely. They really survived till the end game over there. But Portal Esports, they really gave everything they had. But it was I8's game for the taking, and when this team is on a song, it's a completely different ball game that they produce. Look at that, 3,140 damage for a team. What numbers are they commanding? And if this team, if they just go on a mission that they're going to dominate every single game, I don't think there is a force that can stop them in this region.
Unstoppable. They are completely looking unstoppable. 3,140 damage, and along with that, you have got a huge chunk of kills that they did secure. But not to forget about, obviously it was EV with 1,111 damage and just getting 2 kills. I mean, they did secure a lot of damage. They did make sure that their prisons are failed, but just not enough to get converted in terms of the kill points. But certainly there were other teams. We talk about Portal Esports. 1497 is what they were able to secure. A lot of teams that are pretty much close to us. There's 900 mark is there, 1,000 mark is there, but the way team actually I8 Esports, I mean, they dominated in fashion that was looking just phenomenally well, and that resulted themselves in getting to the top spot with 24 total kills, 16 total points, making a total of 40 is where they stand. And all of a sudden there is a big leap where we get to see the total of 12 point difference between them and Team Sky.
Imagine what this team can do, right? They were on the second page before the start of this game, just 3 points, and they were looking to survive on the 13th or 14th hashtag mark. Just one game, 37 points, it puts them right at the spot where they want to be. That is the position that is going to get the PMPL slot by the end of the game number 16. They're already here by the end of game number 2. Are they going to be here by the end of game number 16? That is what the fans are asking right now. But Freestyle just making sure to add up 13 points. It's been really not a very special day for them, but they have really tried hard over here. Let's see how they're going to just capitalize on the remaining 2 matches, and they are just looking to move in the right direction. But let's see, they need to commit.
9 kill is where they stand, a total 10 points. I mean, 90% is where they just secured in terms of kill department. That means they are going strong, they are taking up the fight, they are getting the kill points. It's just the placement points where they are lacking. Just the 1 placement point, 2 matches, but still there are opportunities left for the day, and that is obviously going to be of Sanhok and obviously the last game of Erangel. With this, we are done with 2 games. We are still left with 2, but on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? Kicking up the dust, you know what I mean. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going on.
Hello and welcome back once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is of course the region finals that we are in. I have taken over Trooper and we are going to be now taking you through, of course, along with Ankit, going to be taking you through with the remaining two games. It is a big thanks to Oppo F19 Pro for, of course, making it all happen. Hashtag book up your fun. Now, talking about the fun, talking about the excitement, it is off to a perfect exhilarating ride because you talk about the first game, Ankit, I mean, it was Team Sky, and then talk about the second game where it was I8 and completely obliterating the lobby, right? 22 kills?
Exactly, I mean, yep. Total 27 total points.
Prior to that, this team in the first game, I8 that they played on Erangel, walked away with just the 2 kills and 1 placement point. And now, with the second game that they've showcased on Miramar, a complete decimation to the entire lobby is what they've showcased. But there are, of course, those other teams that are going to be trying to one-up this entire performance that has been showcased from I8, and eventually we shall have to see if that will be allowed itself or not. And that is where, of course, the third map is going to be chiming in, where we will now be jumping on to Sanhok, and of course, that being that much more of a smaller scaled map, things are, I'm hoping, at least keeping my fingers crossed, going to be that much more of fun and aggressive, dominating plays. Not only from one individual team, but all of them combined together, hopefully. But in all of that, what team would you want to keep your eyes towards?
I mean, QWERTY, right off the go. QWERTY, they were looking absolutely berserk in this last match itself. It was just a rotation in the 2-game itself where they were just pinned down. But one more team, I mean, Clarity, Bablu. This was also a team that really had a good game in the game of Erangel, where the player was surviving. Remember Zibran bringing that last important knock against NFP Sky, then just faltering down against Kainik, and then it was an all-easy affair for NFP Sky to get in that 1v1 fight against Modified. But that was certainly the gone case, the past. But certainly this is going to be the Sanhok. I guess any of these two might be making a comeback.
It is possible. It is most certainly possible. But again, to keep things on the playing field itself, to keep things level itself, this is just day number 1. Yes, one team might be able to just completely dominate and obliterate the entirety of the chart, but you do know for a fact that there are other days where the other teams are going to be bringing in that exact sort of an aggressive play against the dominating force. With that, let's get jumping into the game itself. It is going to be on Sanhok, and right off the bat, it is going to be Team QWERTY that Ankit was just mentioning that will be on our screens, and the flight path taking us from the western front, going all the way down south, east, which is going to be towards the docks for the moment. And in doing so, we do see ZARAR taking an early drop from their side and will be, of course, moving on down towards their known comfort location towards Harton for the moment.
Indeed, it is going to be. And since you asked about a lot of teams, I mean, ZARAR is also one team that I just want to see how they actually showcase the performance, because Erangel and Miramar itself, they were looking pretty good in terms of the rotation, but somewhere down the line, they just faltered down in terms of the numbers advantage, and slowly and steadily, the players were picked away in terms of totality. And for the moment, it is also going to be Team Star that I'll really have my eyes set upon, because in the last 2 games, they really didn't have any sort of influential gameplay. And now this is the game of Sanhok. I mean, you just cannot expect any team to perform any better. Any team can actually, at the end of the day, evolve out of all the blues that they're stuck into, and Team Star can be just one thing. If the circle actually favors them, circle is still not formed. That means I really want to see if the circle might be favoring the customary thing, the Camp Bravo Island, and taking some chunk of Camp Alpha and Charlie into its way, and then we might get to see all those things coming up. But for the moment, Freestyle is one team that is finding themselves onto the southern side, Kampong to dock towards the area of cave, where the 4 plates in a complete different split strategies, with the black holding those important compounds. But it seems that Paradise Resort is the hotbed of contestation, as now NFP Sky Esports has given a straight challenge onto the face of 52x Rage.
Absolutely have, and in doing so, they are going to be finding themselves in a bit of a tricky affair against this team of 52x Rage, because eventually when it comes down to the placement that 52x Rage players have found themselves, they are looking very much in control. But on the other front, when it comes to NFP, they are a little scattered for the moment, and that of course is going to be the case because they need to be getting their loot segregated for the moment. As we jumped into this entire top view itself, the eagle eye view that was showcased, we did see that one final player from NFP was just at that moment being dropped on into the zone itself. So indeed, when it comes down to the zone, we do have phase 1 being drawn, and it is going to be NFP finding themselves, of course, it is Paradise Resort basically that's going to be finding itself in the center of this phase 1, and across this northern side from Paradise Resort is going to be the Team Star, who are going to be getting themselves, well, pretty spread out towards the cow region for themselves, and it is going to be working for them for now, as there is no other team that will be contesting them for that drop. But other contestations that can be very well expected could very well be brought from the side of Paradise Resort. Yes, as we did see those teams drop on against each other, but as the game rather progresses along, we are going to be keeping our eyes out towards the side of Team QWERTY, because that team, of course, is going to be a dominating force and has been so earlier as well. But now they are going to have to prove that medal, prove that point to the entirety of the lobby, and right across them is going to be the team that they can very well take a fight against if the information is given away. For now, of course, it is not going to be the case, but it is, of course, a decent start for all of these teams, because eventually when you talk about the other teams that are part of the entirety of the lobby, we do see them looking absolutely comfortable in towards their drop locations as well. And for now, there is absolutely no contestation that can be anticipated from any of these teams. But that is only a matter of time, just a few more moments. And in that first early contestation that we were anticipating between, of course, NFVXSky and 52 Rage, it has turned into a completely different affair where 52X Rage have left Paradise Resort all to the opponent team. And in doing so, they can very well be caught off guard. That is going to be from the side of 52X Rage, but we shall have to see if that will be the case or not.
We have to still wait. We have to still wait. As you perfectly mentioned, I mean, teams are evacuating the area of Paradise Road. Now, NFP Esports have also evacuated slowly and steadily, as now they are moving towards where one team is actually positioned. As now slowly and steadily the teams are moving. But talking about the rotations, it seems that Insane is the one from the sides of PES that has find himself onto that Camp Alpha Island, and Portal Esports, I mean, rest of the players will be getting a safe passage, and he was just maneuvered, he was just deployed in the same direction in order to gain a lot of info, and it seems that he has given the information, he has passed the info, and now all the three players will be coming close and will be congregated themselves, and then they might go for the rotation either from the streamline side, or then they can again go for those extreme water rotations, because that is one more possibility we have seen in the past, and that is certainly going to be because for the moment it is obviously going to be NES, the North Esports team Zamin, that is pretty much close to where NFP Sky Esports are present. NFP Sky just evacuated there of Paradise Resort and moving towards the western side of Paradise Resort is where they might be finding themselves in a skirmish where North Esports Zamin is actually there, and it seems that onto the same vicinity the players might be there in the back end side, but I'm still not able to spot any other player from side of North Esports, and this might be just one jitter thing that Zameen needs to take care of. But on different tangent, it is going to be Team QWERTY up against to the teams of UNB.
Well, what a play this has turned out to be, where we were talking about Team QWERTY is a team to keep an eye out for, and that is exactly where we move on down towards, where they do have a perfectly set up flank that can very well work in their favor. But what sort of a play style is UNB going to be bringing to the table? They are maybe going to be predicting to get into, can be predicted to get into a fight right here, but of course talking about Team QWERTY, we just saw the flank that they've created where they are part of the compound, as well as Wolverine being outside, going to be giving in a lot of information to his teammates, and that is something that Khan is on top of as well, and this is where UNB can be very well caught off guard. We just saw UNB making that right flank, but now they seem to have gone against their own decision and have fallen back to the same way they moved into the arena. Along with that, we do have our first knock being brought on along from the side of Modifier, along with which a first airdrop with the AUG and of course the level 3 kit.
We just saw the AUG in action in the game of Miramar. I won't be surprised if we get to see the AUG actions back on obviously that's the same Sanhok, but modified bullet has been pulled down, as now they are being hounded upon from different directions. So now 52 Rage was also one team that jumped towards the area of Paradise Resort, but now they are finding themselves in a closer vicinity where modified is also there, where IV is also there present. Amish is on the flank angle, we can get to see in the minimap, and Bubber is getting the revival done. For the moment, it is again the contestation that is happening around the area of bootcamp, where QWERTY is now charging upon to different directions, and it seems that now Team QWERTY have evacuated, and this time it is going to be UNB that will be taking the shelter of the area of bootcamp.
Well, what a play. What a play being showcased from these two teams. It was so very close to a very nefarious affair that could have been set in stone for these two, but it seems like that will not be the case, as Stalemate will get the better half of this fight, and both these teams will be walking away without taking in a single knock or a bullet against each other. On the other front, talk about UNB, they are still going to be getting themselves pretty set up with the loot parade that they're going to be on, and that is going to be working in this team's favor. Absolutely no two ways about it. But rather, let me take my words back, because it does seem like when it comes down to the player of UNB, it is going to be Max, who has gotten a little bit of damage on himself, but eventually, of course, he should be able to get that perfectly segregated and sorted. Rather, he should do it quick, because you do not want to be moving on along with this sort of a deadly lobby with just 40% of your health on you. And you should certainly get that set up all the way up to 100%, along with a little bit of course, utilities on top of you. And that is what this team is trying to get their hands on upon. But in doing so, they have given away information to the opponent team, and that opponent team can just be waiting for the perfect moment to pounce on upon and just completely get this kill and the point for themselves. But for now, it is going to be UNB left untouched, and they are going to be absolutely working to get their perfect position for them. On the other front, talk about water rotations from the side of Portal Esports. They were on towards the western front, but it seems like they are, as soon as I bring in the name, the caster's curse has been brought in. This is on you, Ankit, because you made me notice that, and as soon as I brought that along, it is Portal Esports that is on the receiving end.
ZARAR on a charge. They have spotted down rotation, and in doing so, it is going to be one team that is making close in, and this is going to be TG. That is going to be the grounders. All the 4 players are making a close in slowly and steadily, and this is looking like a deadly fight that is erupting on the northern side, around the Bay Area side, where the fight is still on, and ZARAR Esports Serious is trying to give a huge amount of serious blow onto the players, and it is going to be Baby that will be spotted down for a moment. He was, and we got to see 1 knock secured, 1 kill secured in terms of ZARAR Esports. For the backhand side, it is obviously going to be TGs of the grounders, and we just talked about all the 4 players in the same boat, not looking good for them, but certainly the players are in different pitch situation as now they have left the board, and this is one good thing for the moment, as we just got to see, and the distance is still enough for the players to bring that knock.
Absolutely. For now, it seems like Serious from the side of ZARAR Esports have certainly created a perfect sort of an eventual perfect event where they can very well convert this fight for themselves. They've been able to get that 1 kill confirmed, but now it seems like a Barbie is not looking too good, because Portal Esports is a Baby is certainly going to be caught, and eventually when he tries to just get himself sneaking up to the surface to catch a little bit of that breath, well, that is when he's certainly going to be catching a little bit of breath along with a bullet right to the head, and that is when things can be got on to a very different approach that, of course, Portal Esports were not anticipating. On the other front, we did just see that the grounders were also making that rotation, and their teammate Shaptar was on the other front altogether. So it could very well be the case that the grounders might get the better half of this fight, because ZARAR, by taking the fight to the face of both these teams, have given away their position, and in doing so, Portal Esports' player, well, thankfully, they are going to be able to get themselves to the edge, but will it be enough? Because on the other front of the entire saga that we are looking at right here on our screens, it is going to be once again I8 chiming it along into the kill feed. But on the other front, youch moment for Portal Esports. He was so close, yet so far.
Mom2 goes down, Mom2 goes down, and we know that knock gets completely converted into a kill as you are find himself in the water. But the Clarity Esports team, they are trying to take the fight reviews. A lot of bullets is peppered onto his head, and that's resulting himself getting a lot of bruise helmets. For the moment, it's going to be Clarity Esports. The Wolf player has been given the revival, but in doing so, it is going to be a lot of more team that are trying in the same vicinity, as now Modified is also trying to make a come in from the northeastern side, where the Clarity Esports is trying to take the fight. Wolf need those revivals. He has got the revival. He has got the revival, and he just need to patch himself up. But still, the fight between Clarity Esports and I8 is still far-fetched. That the distance is more than, I guess, 200 meters, and it's still a semi to long more than that to fight that meters that we just talked about. And it seems that now Clarity Esports might be just falling themselves away from the situation, with Zbian falling themselves into the prone position with a lot of vehicles around the same position. It seems that now Quraysh is also present on the backhand side, and standby situations where I can expect Clarity Esports that can be pinned down at this point.
Well, this is turning into an interesting fight where, of course, Clarity Esports as well as IAT have given away the information against each other. But now, when it comes down to the positioning that these two teams find themselves in, it is far, far apart indeed, and that is what the cover can be working in these teams' favor. But again, IAT Esports is not one to back down, and they are going to be absolutely pincering down whatever team that they find their crosses towards. As of now, they are looking pretty comfortable in this 11-minute we are at with the second phase of this entire saga. 16 teams are all alive, but for how long? Because after all, this is the map of Sanhok. We do know third parties is what this map is known for, and the way these teams are absolutely obliterating the competitions, they are waiting for that moment on this map to get started about, and that is going to take not more than 4 to 5 minutes, where indeed for the moment it is going to be a little bit of a stalemate situation where these teams find themselves in, and it seems like Quraysh are going to be the ones who might just be spotted on from the side of Clarity Esports Zbian, but it will be or not. Well, for now, it is certainly not turning out to be the case. But on the other front, it seems like IAT Esports' Crypto has moved his intention towards another team altogether, moving on to the map itself. Portal Esports' players have found themselves, the two players, Insane and Mom2 from the Khao region, will be making on that rotation. On the other front, when you talk about ZARAR, they are also getting that much more closer towards the comfort of the zone. And as they do so, we are looking at the team, the Grounders as well, with all 4 players alive. We saw them make a water rotation behind Portal Esports itself, and all 4 players have been able to do so, and in doing that they have been able to actually get onto the land. But now it is a long rotation that they're going to have to make. But on the other front, it is ZARAR who are trying to get into the comfort of the zone, that have been caught off guard thanks to, of course, North Esports from the looks of it, and it is going to be Snow as well as his teammate who are going to be completely stopping ZARAR Esports in their track, and not only stopping, they're going to be confirming a point. That is going to be Coronas going down, and now ZARAR Esports have not gotten the best half of this fight, because they need to be very, very careful. Bonga right here is the one who is leading the charge, and his two two teammates, Cyrus as well as Vaz, are going to be trying to create a flank, but they need to get into the zone as well. Time is running out. 36 seconds before that blue zone is going to start constricting.
The way they are positioning themselves, Vaz and Cyrus, it seems that they are just trying to reroute themselves. For the moment, it is going to be again Bonga, who is not trying to reroute, and it seems that Zameen Knock has been secured by some different teams, but he was found in the open position and not realizing the fact that still Bonga is holding that small little rock that he was taking a shelter for the last moment. But in doing so, it is going to be 126 meter is what they need to travel. Along with that, there are multiple teams in the same vicinity, and we just got to see that circle shift. I mean, from the northern side, it was looking an easy affair for for NFP Sky Esports that will be making a big dent onto each and every team that will be making a move. And from the north, it is going to be ZARAR, it is going to be North Esports, it's going to be multiple teams. Talk about team stars, 3 teams there are at least, and they are not far away. That's just 86 meter, but still this is going to be a challenging task. This is going to be a daunting task, as now Ghosta is finding himself in a closer vicinity where now ZARAR Esports are just making a rotation with 3 players going leading on the charge. It's again Bonga that is leading the charge for the moment, as now Vaz is making slowly and steady close in where the other players are aligned for the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to commend ZARAR's approach right there. They saw the fight, they took the kill, and then completely backed out of that situation because they knew the compound that NES were in would certainly favor them in that fight, and that is something that ZARAR were not wanting to take a bet upon, because again, they were about 100 plus meters away from the center of the zone and they wanted to get into the comfort, and that is what this team has been working towards. And in doing so, it seems like they will be allowed to get into the comfort, but for how long? Because as soon as they do so, there has to be another team that will be able to retaliate. But talk about Bonga and his positioning. I mean, he is waiting. If at all there is a team that's going to be third partying ZARAR's rotation, Bonga will be there to give that cover fire and absolutely pincer down the movement of their opponent team on the other front. Talk about the way ZARAR rotation is being made. As soon as they get themselves down towards this island itself, north of boot camp, they will be right behind NFPX Sky. And NFPX Sky, if they are not careful, well, hold on, no, we can clearly see that that triangle, white triangle, is going to be looking on exactly towards the side of ZARAR, and that is something that NFPX Sky Ash is keeping his eye out towards. So a well-aware team is what is being showcased from Team Sky.
But no one is interested in getting hold of Bootcamp, and that is one thing that is really intriguing me at this moment, because you know Bootcamp is aware where they got to see the eastern edges. If that controlled by any team, if you are in Bootcamp, it's okay, but once the circle shifts away from it, you really need to find yourself away from the position. In that, it is really a daunting task. It seems that is going to be the only case why no one is obviously seen fascinated in getting control of the Bootcamp. But as the circle will be going a shift, just imagine if the circle tends to go towards the area of Bootcamp, most of the teams, most of the players will find themselves in the same position. But for the moment, it is again NFP Sky that is just trying to pin down the players that we just talked about a moment ago. They are just not allowing any team to make a move into the circle, as now Team Star is being pinched down in the same rotation, and in a long far-fetched fight, it is going to be the Grounders that is also coming in slowly and steady. But Team QWERTY is slowly and patiently waiting every sort of rotation, every sort of sound cues that NFP Sky Sports are giving. For the moment, it is also going to be Team QWERTY's challenge to make a move, and now it seems that Bootcamp might be under contestation.
Well, it certainly seems to be the case where these teams are slowly moving on along, and that is going to be Khan, who has been caught off guard out in the open. This is not looking good because their teammate has been brought down. It is none other than, of course, Ivy, who has been able to pincer down that player. Of course, he was trying to get the best half of the circle itself, but that seems to have backfired for the side of Team QWERTY, and in doing so, of course, Ivy get the better half of that fight and will be able to hopefully convert that kill as well. Of course, right now we do see Khan is alive. His team is going to be trying to make that rotation to give him that survival, but the kill feed is going absolutely crazy. We do have so many teams taking on the fight. The Raws top in North Esports position. We see the Grounders absolutely decimating the players of Star, bringing in 2 kills confirmed for themselves, and they are still not yet done because the kill has not been confirmed, and he's going to be pushing on along with his teammate to completely pincer down the rotation and the movement from the side of the Team Star, and that is just a perfect annihilation. But talk about these kill feeds and as well as these teams, none of them find themselves in the comfort of the zone. It's third parties all the way through, of course, Sanhok.
Indeed it is. I mean, these are the third parties. These are sandwich situation that you preempt, you expect to happen, and we are getting to see it now. ZARAR's Bonga has fallen down thanks to that onslaught that is coming in from the side of NFP Sky Sports. But in the fight that is happening still, it is going to be Clarity that has been completely bring down. The onslaught is coming in. It's now Tough takes the fight, and he tried to bring one knock, but thanks to that onslaught that is coming in from the side of Clarity Esports, now Zibyan is the one that is really trying to rescue all the players, and 1 kill is what he tried to secure. With all the players falling down, it is going to be the one pair. It seems that Edgar is giving the revival, but Clarity Esports need to sense the gravity of the situation, and this is the right moment to push. If they do, they will be the one that will getting the better half of this fight. But it seems that Dani, after the revival is being done, they won't be allowing UAG to actually flourish in this area.
Absolutely. TUF not looking too good right there, but of course Thor trying to get that revival revival onto his teammate, but will that be allowed? Because it is going to be Clarity, Zabian, as well as his teammates who are just completely going to be pinstring down these two players. And PU is not looking on to a better half of this virus. Not going down, of course, with his that teammate also being brought on down. 2-second affair is what that was, and in doing so, it is, of course, going to be Clarity Esports who get the better half of this entire saga with 4 kills confirmed for themselves. The kill feed is still not yet done as teams try and just pincer down those rotations. It is going to be FS Malik right there bringing in the rotation and stopping 52X in their tracks as the rage that they were trying to hopefully bring in has been completely decimated them. On the other front, Portal Esports' Momtu and his teammate, well, they were trying to get into the zone. They were on the run for quite a long time, but now it is Momtu all by himself who has been able to take down Knight from the side of Grounders, but the kill has not been confirmed. He better be able to do something really quickly, otherwise he's going to be sent back into the lobby with 0 kills on the other front, as the Grounders, also a team that wanted to get into the zone itself, has been pincered down, and it is ZARAR taking the better half of that entire saga. With that, it is Shapter who is left all by himself 190 meters away from the zone. This is not looking good. He of course does have 5 first aids along with the smoke working for him, but will that all be his gameplay in this map of Sanhok? Ouch moment once again being showcased for so many of these teams, as we can clearly see from the side of Portal Esports to the Grounders to 52X Rays to ZARAR as well as Sky. These teams find themselves outside the zone, and the ones that are in, they are going to be absolutely pincering them down one by one.
Exactly. I mean, Portal Esports, Momtu still survives in all these fights that are still happening. But Modified, as we just talked to see, I mean, this is one team, it seems that is the only team coming in from the northeastern side that is still in the circle with still players just trying to pin down the players. And they know that this can be the perfect gatekeep situation. And realizing the fact Momtu has been taken down, 4 kill is what they stand for the moment. And wisely, they are now marching towards the edge of the circle with 1 player deployed into central line of the circle. The 3 players are just guarding the edge of the circle, the northeastern edge. And in that, it was an elimination for Portal Esports. Just a 2 kill is what they secured, but now I8 versus Clarity, we are getting to see a second time in this map of obviously Sanhok. In the early stage of the game, we just got to see I8 versus Clarity, but the fight disengaged. But thankfully this time it is going to be a fight that will be head on head, and now one team that is really trying to make a move into the circle, and that is going to be of I8, and in doing so it is going to be a big challenge up against them at the big wall in name of Clarity Esports. Bablu is just trying to pin them down, but in return it is going to be Zabian that has faltered down. More and more players are falling down. There's now Reviews has also fallen down. Uzium is getting the revival, and it is not an easy affair for I8 to make a move into zone. Till now, they have been completely outplayed by Clarity Esports.
They most certainly have. It is only going to be Crypto from the side of that team that is of course trying to give that revival one by one, but will that be enough? Because it is not looking good for the side, because Clarity are absolutely trying to pincer down this team, but as they do so, will it be enough? Right now, we do see Crypto trying to make that rotation, and he is being pincered down as well. He has been locked down to just 10% of his HP, and as he tries to get away in the comfort of the zone, he will not be able to do so because Wolf was waiting right there, and with that, it is just the annihilating play that Clarity Esports were waiting for. 6 kills to this team. Absolute domination mode is what they have showcased, but along with that, 6 teams also remain in that modified as part of this saga with 8 kills confirmed for themselves. They've got 3, well, as soon as I say that, one of their players modified has been knocked, but certainly a kill has not been confirmed. My tongue is evil today.
For the moment, it is going to be Clarity Esports that are on a charge making a move, but for the moment, it is ZARAR Esports. So all of a sudden, in a whisker, a lottery has been eliminated, and we're just left down to 13 players, and 5 people have been doing so. It is going to be one more player going down, and it seems that Quraysh Esports are on the receiving end as just the one player still survives. Will it be enough for him to give a resistance? We have to still wait for that, as now Clarity Esports is just looking unstoppable for the moment. Bablu Dani is on a charge, and from the back hand side, it is going to be other player that will be giving a complete cover fire with 420. We got to see he is trying to give the cover fire, and Bilal is still bleeding up slowly and steadily, and Money, it seems that he has left abandoned, but leaving abandoned is one thing, and just trying to survive in the situation is not going to be enough for him, as he has been taken care of. 9 kill is where Clarity Esports stands for the moment, but all of a sudden UNB 7 kill is where they're standing, and the moment Clarity Esports needed to make a move into the circle, it was UNB. They were just waiting in the small little hut with the 2-1-1 split, 2 players in central line circle, 1-1 player each deployed on the edge of the circle, on the eastern western side of the circle. They are looking pretty strong at the moment. I mean, nothing can just take away if they just do some sort of rookie mistake. That is the only one thing that might be hurting their chance in getting secured with that chicken run. 9 kill, one more. Bablu Wolf goes down, and that makes an elimination for obviously for Clarity.
Well, what a way this has turned out to be, where Modified were looking absolutely good and supreme. It was, of course, Clarity Esports that were raining in bullets against their opponents, but now it seems like the charts have turned, the stars have aligned, and it is going to be none other than UNB that these stars are going to be, of course, Well, very happy with, because they've got 9 kills confirmed for themselves. All 4 players still alive. Modified, just 2 players surviving. They are going to try and get in the zone, but will they be allowed to do so? Because it seems like Max is going to be waiting. And as soon as Modified tries to retaliate, they've given away the information. And now Max knows exactly where that team is. And he is going to get outside the zone to get into the flank. Is this going to be the decision that was supposed to be made? Max, this is not looking good for you, mate. You will be able to get that kill. Well, the knock will certainly be confirmed against the player, which is going to be Bullet. But you better be getting into the zone, mate, because eventually when it comes down to the play that has been showcased right here, it was absolutely a bet. It was a bet from the side of Max, but it has worked in the dude's favor. He has been able to get that 1 kill confirmed, thus leaving Modified outside the zone, and FS's one final player is the only man surviving into the comfort of the zone itself, and UNB are absolutely on an onslaught to completely decimate their opponents, but in doing so, it is going to be, of course, Malik that they will be able to catch as well, the final player from FS. With that, a chicken dinner with amazing turnover wins from the side of UNB itself. What a perfect play that was showcased from this team. They were able to walk away with 12 kills, 1,287 damage dished out throughout the entire moment that was created from them, and 27 points is what they walk away with. That's resulting then on the 5th in the overall standings. A perfect, no-fear gameplay being showcased from UNB.
A chicken is what all you need. I mean, indeed, it was 12 kills that they did secure and 12-15 based on 27. A total of 27 will be helping them in the course, and they are now finding themselves at the top 5 at this moment, because the last 2 games itself, that was certainly not the game, but once they made a move into this game of Sanhok, they were looking pretty strong right through off the go, and once they find themselves into the latter of the game, it was an all easy affair for them. And downtown towards the 8th zone, 9th zone, we just saw the player were just not eliminating, they were hunting down the player. Talk about the players of Modified, they were just trying to hunt down the player. It could have an easy task for them just to let go and just ignore the players, because they were knowing the exact positioning. First it was Deadshot that just went in the blues, and there were just no stopping for them, and then it was sad state of affairs for Priestess, last player that was still alive. And the numbers advantage, every time you play any sort of battle royale, any sort of game, any sort of map, it's the numbers advantage. If it is favoring you, there is a high probability chance that you will getting that chicken, and in that it was an easy task for UNB to get the chicken. Eventually it was not an easy, but they made it look so easy for us.
So true, so true. I mean, you've got the number advantage, you've got the circle working in your favor. There's no way that you should be able to not get that chicken dinner, and in doing so, of course, we do move on to the most valuable player coming in from the game. It is going to be none other than, of course, Max right here from the side of the UNB with 5 kills, 1 assist, 695 damage that he was able to dish out in the 22.5-minute saga that he was a part of on this map of Sanhok. A beautiful play being showcased from the lad, because he was the one who went outside the zone, took the bet to get outside the zone into the blue, and then take a kill from the side of course, Modified. Bullet being brought down, and then eventually, of course, it was FS Malik who was also brought on down, thus giving them the perfect play and spray that they were waiting for. With that, we move on to the top players list, where of course we do have Max right there on the first, but following him very closely is going to be Wolf from the side of QWERTY Esports. We saw this dude just jumping from across that board behind the rock to take their skills for himself. 3 kills to the name with 712 damage that he dished out. So a lot of onslaught that he brought to so many of the teams.
Clarity, we talked about this team, right? And this is the one guy, Bablu Wolf, that really made it look possible in the last 2 game itself. And once he stepped in this game of Sanhok itself, right off the goal, he really stepped up and made a mark for himself. But moving along, we have the match summary, where we got to see a lot of players from different teams featuring in different sort of start. Talk about Maximum Sit. We have Modified Babbar, and then we have Malik, the most utilities used, and then we have highest damage, Clarity, Bablu Wolf. So a lot of players that really made their influential gameplay, and this is one good thing that really happened, because in this last game itself, it was a complete domination by I8, and since before the start of the game itself, you mentioned that there need to be some sort of a balancing thing, and this is where a lot of team has actually chimed upon.
So true. So true. I mean, again, I did say my tongue is a little evil today, but it seems to be working. It seems to be working. It is not certainly working in terms of the teams that I do end up pointing out that absolutely at the same point do end up getting pincered down. But what a play this has been. Talk about the kill department. It has been absolutely phenomenal, with Modified walking away with 9 kills, QWERTY Esports walking on away with 9 kills. Freestyle working towards the placement point, of course, because the numbers advantage was not in their favor, but of course Malik played his cards right, and thus resulted in his team walking away with the 15 points from this game.
Indeed it is. I mean, the grounders, you really need to remember the sort of rotation they did. There was complete sort of water rotation. In doing so, it was them that really got pinned down. They tried to take up the fight. They really got a backstab onto the players that was really making a move. It was Team Star, if I'm not wrong, that really them backstabbed them, and in doing so, they were the one that got those important 3 kills. But then it was just not enough for them, because as soon as they were making a move into the circle, it was Team Clarity that was just trying to pin them down, and it was all game end for them. But before that, it was Team QWERTY that I really had my eyes set upon, but just the one total placement points and one total point was what they were able to secure. Tough, it was a tough luck affair for this match for them.
Absolutely. With that, let's of course reminiscent for all of these fights that was so gracefully taken from all the teams in the lobby. It is going to be the time to bring in the Oppo F19 Pro moments, where we jump on into directly the 17th minute marker, where the kill department went absolutely berserk, because there were 15 teams remaining into the 4th phase itself, where we do see clearly that it was TUF trying to take on a fight in an onslaught, but sadly, of course, they were pinned down. And as the journey progressed on along, this is where Modified just utilized the position of their compound, of course, against the rotation of so many teams, and were able to get so many points for themselves.
Clarity completely decimated. I mean, Quraysh Esports, they were looking good as soon as with the 2 players, but as soon as Clarity Esports shined upon to the scene, it was just a game, and then it was UNBxNF from the sides of UNB with that aggressive. I mean, we were just questioning about those sort of rotation and those sort of going out of the blue, but he really made it look possible. And the courage all these players holds, that's where you get a lot of kills, that's where you get a lot of total points at the end of the day. That's what it matters. And talking about what matters, it is going to be total damage. What matters for the moment is now Clarity Esports, that is going to be Team Bablu. 19-12 is what they were able to secure with a total of 9 kills, and on different tangent, on a contrary, 12 kills with just 1287 damage. So kill conversion was certainly favoring UNB.
Absolutely were, and in that they did take the better half of the fight, as they were able to convert those damages into the points themselves in the name of kill itself. But as we move on down through the chart, we are not, of course, being greeted by the teams. We are now being greeted by the teams who did not play so well. We've got TUF right there on the second last with only 383 damage that they were able to bring in, which is decent, but no kill. That of course means that you did not get a lot of points, and in doing so, we now move on to the overall ranking, where we do have Modified finding themselves, of course, on the top of the leaderboard with 45 total points to this team. I8 right below them with 42, and then there is a little bit of a difference, not a lot, just a little bit, where Clarity finds themselves on the 3rd without a chicken dinner, but 37 points.
No QWERTY in 1-8. That means they are lacking in some sort of placement points and kill points, but still 1 game left. Before that, we just saw Modified some consistent gameplay. They don't have any chicken whatsoever. Still 30 placement points. On an average, they have secured 10 placement points in every match, and then 15 in terms of kills, what they have secured for this moment, and that resulted in total of 45 points. And we just got to see Team QWERTY. We're talking about Team QWERTY, 3 matches, 9 kill itself, and a total of 11 points. Certainly the kill department is where they are just hungry enough to get a total lot of placement points, and somewhere down the line they're just faltering down and just losing out to the members, and thus not getting a lot of placement points, and just 11 points. With that, they were finding themselves at 14-15 position. Certainly not the start that Team QWERTY were looking for.
Most certainly, but then again, we do know that the lads coming in from the side of Team QWERTY, from Khan to Wolverine and the likes, they're all absolutely perfect when it comes to the spray and play that they bring in. Perhaps this is just day number 1, so we can anticipate that hopefully they'll be bringing in that perfect domination that is expected from them, perhaps in the final game or even from tomorrow. But with that, all I'm trying to say is there are so many opportunities remaining, but one final opportunity that will be remaining for the day is going to be on Erangel. But before we do so, it's time to go on to that short break. We'll be right back.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? Kicking up the dust, you know
Hello and welcome to PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is the regional finals day number 1 in the Pakistan region, of course, where we are going to be jumping into the final game of the day on Erangel, of course. And without further ado, let's jump right in with the flight path that's going to be on our screens any minute now. And we will be brought on with the Erangel map, which will hopefully showcase which side is this going to start off. And right off the bat, it is the military base where we're starting off things from all the way northwest towards Georgia Pole, which is going to be perfectly helping out so many of these teams. I mean, right off the bat, when the day started off, it was I-8 that found themselves on the military base. We shall have to see what sort of a play will be created from the other teams as we bring in this entire saga on this final game for the day.
IV2 going towards the area of Novorupnoy in the first game of Erangel itself. We just saw two teams finding themselves in the closer proximity, and then there was some sort of circle shift. I8 taking that Novorupnoy bridge and just waiting IP to pass by, and then they made a rotation. This is all sort of a gameplay that we got to see. But as soon as the players are jumping off, it is obviously going to be NFP that really jump off to the area of Ferry Pier, and the split, the 3-1 split that has actually favored them. But the question still remains. The last game itself was some sort of eastern shift where we got to see the circle finishing towards the area between Rozok and Yasnaya. The question still remains, what sort of curveball, what sort of notorious shift of the circle we will be getting to see, as now slowly and steadily everyone is jumping around. Last time it was no sort of contestation between the Milta and the farm area. This time itself the flight path really didn't favor the team to go towards the area of Lipovka, and last time it was QWERTY that was finding themselves in the early sort of skirmish, and then they just found all those vehicles spawned on this area and they went towards the area of Lipovka. But now since the circle has formed and they are still airborne, will they be going towards the area of Lipovka? That is going to be a big question, because still now what we have seen in the past, they love to go towards the area of Lipovka, and this is a safe haven for them. But since the circle is completely dominating the southern part, this might end towards that military bridge or onto the ferry pier areas, or maybe towards the area of military base. There are a lot of, I mean, opportunities. I will just talk about that, but Zarki is where Quraysh Esports is finding themselves, and this is going to be long pursuit for them to make a move into the circle.
Absolutely. Good point. Good point right there. Talking about Quraysh itself, because we're reaching at the end of the day itself, let's start off that conversation from the teams that have not been showcasing a perfect play in terms of the games that they've been able to showcase right now. And Quraysh is going to be one of those teams that has not really been able to bring in that sort of a play style that has been working in this lobby for them. But again, this being just the first day, we can give them that leeway to all of these teams, in fact, is what I would say. Give them that leeway that they are just absolutely testing the waters, simply put. And as they test those waters, hopefully tomorrow they come out with flying colors, because that is what is anticipated from their fans as well as us. But on the other front, we have Team QWERTY, another team that has not been bringing in that best play for themselves as they make that rotation across the shelter region. In the individual vehicles that they find themselves in, it is going to be absolutely perfect kind of a rotation that will be working in that team's favor. But they better hurry up, because, well, they are looking absolutely in control of what they are bringing up and what they're up about, but they do need to be able to get towards wherever their final destination is and get those loot segregated for themselves, because there are other teams on the other front where we move on down towards the southern part, which is going to be on the military base, where we do see UAGxTUF, who are going to be getting themselves absolutely acclimated with all the perfect loot that is set up all by themselves. And look at that play.
Wow.
I mean, that is just perfect loot that they have been able to segregate in just 3.5 minutes, and already onto a bridge camp position. Amazing swift skills being showcased from this thing.
That too with an ease. We didn't got to see what sort of rotation they were trying to do with Crypto holding that angle. He's just the one player in that position, and he's just scouting all this area. Just won't be allowing anyone if they try to make a move. But we need to talk about obviously this team. Obviously UAGxTUF. The team really had a very tough day in terms of the total points that they were able to secure till now. It is not sort of a settled gameplay that they were looking up to. Georgiapol is where they are finding themselves, the city area rather, and the player in a split situation with some players on a backhand side. We can get to see hospital areas where they are positioned, and 800 centimeter is what they need to travel. It is going to be a tough task, because there are a lot of teams that are available around those QWERTY and around those Gutka split, and if they have to make a rotation, they have to meticulously plan it, rather they would fall down. But as soon as we get to see, Blade is also on a charge with the help of Coop RB. He is getting all those loot acclimated for himself. But what sort of loot would Crypto would have got just in the 3rd minute of the game, because the players from the sides of UAGxTUF are still looting, but Crypto was on a charge, was just trying to create that X factor, that surprise element for each and everyone, just in case if any team decides to make a move in the early stage of the game, UAGxTUF is still ready.
Exactly. And I think that that decision is being made based on the circle itself, based on the first phase itself, where we do have quite a chunk of the military zone that is being selected to be a part of the first phase. And of course, Crypto has to be placed right there to be able to get that information. If at all another team tries to make that early rotation onto the military base, that team of UAGxTUF needs to be aware, and that is where, of course, Crypto comes in with that perfect, decent loot that has been able to set up for himself, and of course that information that he will be able to communicate to his teammates, as the teammates we were looking at were absolutely looking abysmal in terms of the loot that they were able to get themselves found out across the entirety of the military base, looking phenomenal. But for now, of course, that is what is going to be based on what sort of a rotation will the phase be making. As of now, we do have TUF on our screens, and they are making a rotation across the hospital region right now, and through the apartments they go across. They are going to be looking perfect as well, because they've got all of them separated and segregated in 3 individual vehicles, whereas we do see Virus, who is not in a vehicle, who has perhaps already pushed on forth towards the compound that they're going to be rushing on towards on the other front. It is going to be 52xRage on our screens for now.
The team really had a very good day in terms of total points that they were securing, be it be kill bait with the placement points, but certainly they really need to up their ante, because this is going to be the last game for day 1. Obviously itself, every team will be getting those 16 games, and 1/4 will be getting vanquished once they will be getting the final game of this day today. And we just saw, I mean, the teams were making a rotation. It was tough that were making a rotation, that they choose exactly the side of Gutka and QWERTY split. That seems that they are trying to make a move, rather not go to the area of Pachinki or maybe to the area of Rozok. Rather they will be taking all those western side of those circle, and then they will making a move into the circle. But for the moment, Edgar is also on the charge, as all the players are going slowly and steady. But on different tangent, QWERTY has got that first blood, and this time it is going to be Pablo, obviously a 420 boy, and this is one big dent onto the face of Quraysh. We talked about Quraysh in the early stage of the game. they are there, but certainly on the receiving end.
They most certainly are, with 2,000, almost 500 meters of rotation that this team needs to make to get into the zone itself. Not looking good. They are, of course, on towards the northwestern front of the entirety of the map, up front towards Zarki. But now, as the rotation is being made, it seems like Clarity were able to get the better half of that and were certainly chiming in with that first blood situation. But they also are on the run. They are also going to try and get themselves into the comfort of the zone. Wolf, stop. Wolf, take that glider. All right, he's not going to do that. Of course, it is just one of those perfect moments that is being showcased. The beauty of Erangel is showcased, especially when it comes down to that glider approach that one of these players ends up doing. But of course, that is just giving away the information to the entirety of the lobby, and something that not a lot of teams end up deciding. There are only seldom few teams that end up doing so. But in doing so, they do give us those perfect, beautiful spots and scenic views of this beautiful map of Sanhok. But again, never mind that beauty, because after all, we're here for the aggressive stance that these teams end up making, and in that, it is going to be Clarity who has taken that aggressive stance and find themselves in the edge of the zone. And as they do so, now they're probably going to just get themselves acclimated onto that spot itself, and will be waiting for other teams to make a rotation from the way that that team likes to play. On the other front, Quraysh Esports on our screens do get themselves in the comfort of the zone for the moment, but what sort of position will they find themselves? It seems like so very close to Clarity Esports once again.
They are ripped apart. All the three players are in completely different split. One player is in different directions. One player is completely close to where Clarity Esports is positioned. One player we just got to see making a move onto the area of Georgiapol Island. I mean, this is not good thing. This is not the way you actually try to play this lobby, because there are big teams. There are I8, there are Clarity Esports, and even find if they spots a pixel of you, one player can be easily extreme cornered in the situation. It seems that now the players are on run with Bablu Dani just trying to get a lot of info with the help of the Ridge. He's maneuvering his McLaren in a very beautiful way, but for the moment Zabyan is the one. It seems that he has got a lot of dent, as the Quraysh Esports player just stopped in for a moment, but as soon as Clarity Esports danger was there, it seems that now the danger has been averted, as slowly and steadily Quraysh Esports, the purple marker players, are making a move into the circle. But this is the moment of the truth that will actually seal the fate for a lot of teams, whether they need to actually survive on this main island or downtown go towards the area of military base. But still, it seems that PUBG God will be leaving a lot of things to get unveiled in the next shift, as now NFP has completely camped this situation for I8 to make a move. If they try to make a move to the northern circle, to the northern half of the island, they have to make some different sort of strategies.
They most certainly will have to. On the other front, talk about Portly Esports, who find themselves absolutely to the southern front of the military base altogether, and right across that flank angle is going to be Ivy making that rotation as well. An interesting play being showcased from the side of Portly Esports as well as Ivy, but in doing so, as they get their vehicles closer and closer towards the players of I8, things are going to get pretty tricky for both of these teams, because I8 is most certainly going to be retaliating. From the looks of the zone itself, I do want to be able to see that bridge camp sort of a situation working in these teams' favor, and the zone to absolutely just pincer that bridge down, where indeed those ridges are going to be what the final game will move on down towards. But again, that is a conversation for next few minutes, rather to be taken in the next few minutes, as we'll find out what the zone is going to be planning for these teams. For the moment, it is going to be from the looks of NFPX guys players. They are probably getting themselves in the vehicle and getting away from the position. It is not confirmed yet, but confirmed is the fact that, of course, Ivy as well as Portly Esports will be getting into the comfort of the zone, and as they do so, it is going to be a tough situation for Portly Esports for the moment to get themselves into the zone itself, because it is going to be two teams, I8 as well as Flex, that they are going to have to get through.
Indeed, it is going to be two teams in the same vicinity, and now it is going to be the time where the last Erangel itself, which saw that I8 just let one team to make a move, but three teams already in the circle, with Nocto going for some different direction. It seemed that he might be going for different charge in approach, but you have to still wait for the situation, as now Portly Esports, they made a rotation and they were just happy until and unless the circle just went for the shift that still hinged that the circle might go towards the area of the northern island. But still we are heading towards a fight where Quraysh are up aligned to the players, where ZARAR Esports are playing in the same vicinity with three players still alive. Bilal and Money and all other players that are still left in the lobby for themselves are just trying to take the fight. But UAG, it seems that Virus is getting a lot of info from that ridge that he is trying to take the control of, and Bonga, his location has been revealed. We just got to see a lot of bullets have been papered onto him, and that's realizing the fact the players are just saving their vehicles in a different position where the bullets cannot reach them.
Absolutely. For now, ZARAR is certainly going to be trying to get this compound working in their favor. Now, not only there's their vehicles as well, because they do know that those vehicles are going to be so very crucial when the zone moves away from them and they have to make that rotation. But on the other front itself, it is going to be, of course, as was mentioned mentioned by Ankit. Quraysh, who find themselves very close to ZARAR, and it is not going to be an easy compound for them to just completely take control of, because there are so many teams that are going to be keeping an eye out towards that compound of ZARAR, and not only ZARAR but Quraysh's compound as well. And when it comes to Quraysh Esports' compound, they are a 3-man squad who need to be better synergized in terms of the way they are going to be trying to retaliate the onslaught that will be brought from their competitors. Eventually, when it comes to the play style itself, for the moment we're only 12 minutes in, so the teams are taking a slow, low-key poke into the play, into the bloodlust that is being showcased on this map of Erangel on the first game. But right now, again, like I said, it is a slow poke sort of a situation, but of course it is the information that is going to be reigning in supreme for so many of these teams, because the information is what will then convert into a good fight or a bad one.
They're just waiting. They are just waiting. Once the circle go for a shift, maybe they can just go all guns blazing. But before that, they're just not taking the chance whatsoever. This circle shift will eventually decide the fate, that what sort of team, what sort of rotation will be making in the circle. Made a shift toward the northern island, where a lot of teams was actually preempting, but still a congestion is there onto the end of this military base island that connects it to that northern island. We are still getting to see NFP Sky, but now Sky are on a roll, Sky are on a move, and now I8 is going to be the one that will be making a move. But it seems that it is going to be obviously QWERTY that will be getting a better half of all these circles, because they are having control of all those small little compounds and those ridges that they can play for the moment. And in the closer vicinity, it is obviously going to be North Esports. There's still every and each team left in this lobby, just the one player that was taken away, and sadly that was Dubai from the side of Quraysh Esports.
Absolutely, that was the initial few moments of the game itself where it was Clarity who got the better half of that fight. But now, as of course ZARAR we saw make that rotation, Quraysh Esports tried their level best to bring in a knock, bring in a point, bring in a kill, but that was not allowed from the side of ZARAR Esports, as they just completely got into their vehicles as quickly as possible and moved on into the zone itself. But now we see there are so many teams in the comfort of the zone. We do see NFP Sky who have made that rotation as soon as they saw the circle shift, and in doing so, it is going to be of course Team QWERTY that we fall back upon, who have found themselves in the center of this entire saga. But in that, when it comes down to the placement that they found themselves, this is looking like a tricky affair for them to be able to just completely obliterate the competition, because they are going to be caught out in the open. On the other front, it is Clarity chiming in against the players of Quraysh Esports once again, as Quraysh makes that rotation from the looks of it.
Indeed, it is going to be the case, but for the moment, it is ZARAR on the receiving end, as now Star has trying to pull them down, as now ZARAR is going down slowly and steadily. One player has been completely eliminated, and now Star is on a charge, with Fury getting the important trench for his favor. It seems that now Bonga has spotted him down, as grenade was lobbed in onto his face, that was brought in Fury to just 20 HP surviving for the moment. But Anonymous, Loser and Gyro are getting a lot of info, and they know there is one team in the same vicinity, in a closer proximity I would rather say, and Bonga was wise enough to get himself away from that broken wall, and thus resulting himself alive for the moment. And Vaz has gone down. That means the X-Factor player that has really made it possible for ZARAR Esports to survive in this sort of lobby has been taken away, but still 3 players are left on that side, and this is something that can really hurt them.
Well, for now it is going to be Star who have been able to get their teammate on towards the decent looking health for now, and again they have all 4 players surviving. But when it comes to the vicinity that these teams find themselves in, it is being contested from so many teams. Out in the open, it is of course going to be Team QWERTY. On towards the other flank, it is going to be ZARAR, and now we also see from the south Quraysh have moved in to Quraysh Esports have moved in to take on the compound for themselves as well. So quite a lot of fights that we can expect from this particular region. But will this be the final moment where the circle will be jumping in towards, or will the circle be pushing these teams to get away from this urban area that they find themselves in? Of course, when it comes to the urban area itself, it is looking absolutely in control for so many of these teams, because the compounds, that is going to be their cover. On the other front, it is third airdrop being dropped on, along with of course the AWM, and this is where Team QWERTY's Voltrix was trying to get himself into a decent flank angle to be able to give his team the information, but he of course has given away the information to Anonymous, and Anonymous from the side of Team Star is taken on those mini shots one by one. Has not been able to confirm them yet, but has certainly gotten the information.
Still all player alive, just getting one player picked off, but still all player alive. And it seems that now Ivy is on a receiving end. As I just mentioned, it seems that there might be some sort of elimination for them, as now we're getting to see a lot of teams that are making a close in with FS. The players are completely looking strong at this moment, and Clarity is still holding those important western edges. But for the moment, it is also Voltros that need to take the fight. For the moment, I8 Esports is looking to dominate in the 6 houses areas, and they also need to make a move, and that is not going to be an easy task. 600 meters is what they need to travel, but in this vicinity there's still 16 players alive, there's still 16 teams alive, 57 players. The numbers are slowly decreasing, but the rate is still less, because we are ready for a bloodbath altogether.
Well, that is exactly what is the case right here, and we can clearly see that 16 teams all remaining for surviving right now, but in the fourth zone is where the zone is going to be constricting and restricting these players to get into a fight. We do see Clarity chiming along, taking a player off modified, that's going to be Baror, and on the other front, it is going to be a team, that is going to be Team Star, completely chiming it along to get a kill confirmed for themselves as well, as they do see modified not in a decent conversation for themselves, whereas on the other front, TUF players also not looking good, where Virus is their only chance to get that revival, and it was the vehicles, their vehicles itself, that was stopping him to get into the zone, into the compound itself to get that revival. But as he gets that done, it is going to be ZARAR who will try and get the better half of that fight. An interesting showcase of absolute domination from the side of ZARAR, but it seems like they are on to a slow start itself right here. When it comes to the kill department, they are absolutely kill hungry. They're going to get the revival done. Kronos is going to be working on to get himself absolutely healed up. Bonga is the man of the hour who was absolutely able to get his teammate revived, but the two-man squad has, since they've taken this much time to get themselves acclimated, the team of TUF have been able to get themselves revived, and it is all thanks to Virus. And now with that much of time that has been given from the side of ZARAR, the team is going to be backing out from that area. So TUF still find themselves at the edge, but not an easy fight that they are in. On the other front, it is going to be Modified, who have been absolutely pincered down in this small little shack, and Team Star is anonymous. This guy has had so much information from this compound and has absolutely been relentless in this entire conversation. On the other front of the entirety of the map, it is I8 who have been sent back, eliminated on the 16th spot.
Clarity Esports, you remember the name. Clarity Esports actually pinned him down, and it was now the case that now they're trying to pin down the players of FS, but now some different directions is where they're trying to take the fight, as now Team Star are now just completely trying to commit on the small little house where Modified, all the 4 players are constricted. One grenade can do the business. Before that happens, you're going to be loser from different direction, just trying to get a better half of these players, and now Mohammed goes down from their sides, and now Team Star all of a sudden looking pretty strong. 3 kills is what they secure, and now slowly and steadily the numbers are decreasing, but Amish is still standing. Amish was the one that brought the X factor in that 1-1 situation against NFP, and he is the one again that is living up to expectation. But in a different fight, QAG again giving a tough fight, and ZARAR is just holding themselves around those small little those things that are present in their vicinity, and the smoke cloud is also making it easy for them. But as soon as it happens, so we thought that is trying to take the players down, but it seems that he has gotten a lot of lead onto his body, and it seems that he will be taken care of. Just the 2 players have taken 3 players down, and in that they will be getting a lot of kills, and also the players will be getting the revival.
What a play. I mean, that cement block right there that ZARAR was absolutely behind and trying to take cover of has worked in their favor, where of course Bonga was the man who was able to just push on along and take care of TUF indeed, and in doing so he will also be able to give a revival to his teammate, and that is where ZARAR have gotten themselves 4 points for themselves, looking absolutely comfortable. On the other front, talk about Team Star. This team has been on our stream in the past few minutes again and again, and in doing so they have been able to retaliate against so many teams because they've got the information for them. On the other front, when you talk about the kills, it is going to be a complete different conversation for the side of Clarity, because they are sitting with all 4 members alive with 7 kills for now. And in that, when it comes to the zone is going to be constricting and moving away from this entire urban area.
That is going to be Team Star that still needs to make a move. They still need to make a move. They are making a move, as now Gyro along with Fury has gone for a push, but it seems that they might be outplayed, as now Khan has found himself away from that Wizard Tower, and in doing so it is going to be him that has been pinned down. But now from different direction, it seems that now Team Star are getting a lot of shots, as now they have been pulled down, and Sky on a different tangent has fallen down as Ash leaves the lobby from the situation, and Team QWERTY is making a move onto the situation with Khan going down. Wolverine, Waltrus, Rahman, everything resides onto their shoulders. Now there is a lot of chance for Team Grounders also to make a third party situation onto this fight.
What a play this is turning out to be. The zone absolutely constricting and forcing these teams to take on the fight. It is going to be NFPX Sky, Ash, who has been knocked, and of course when it comes to his teammates, they are themselves not looking too good when it comes to their placement and when it comes to their positioning in the entirety of the saga itself. It is not going to be an easy fight or an easy revival for the side of that team. But again, on the other front, when it comes to Clarity, well, this team is absolutely clear of their intent, and of course that is what they are showcasing in the kill feed, where Team QWERTY's Rahman is also being obliterated thanks to Clarity's perfect approach. 52x rage. This team has been part of the kill feed as well again and again. We're taking on players from one by one. On the other front, UNB also were able to chime in against the players of QWERTY Esports and bring in kills for themselves. The kill feed is going absolutely berserk from Star Esports to the others. They are just obliterating one by one so many teams. As we can see, when it comes to the alive marker, we do see North Esports with just 2 man surviving. We do see Modified who have gotten just 1 player now, and in that we do also have QWERTY Esports with 1-man army.
It's really tough. It's really tough to process which team is trying to get down the players from another team. But because in doing so, it is going to be 3 kills is where the players are standing. But in that, Quraysh Esports make an exit from this lobby. Team QWERTY is still on the edge of the circle. The player are not in a situation where they can actually change themselves, and that resulting them that they really to take themselves away from the situation. But Fury, they are making use of this small little wizard tower that they're finding for the moment, and they're still holding it. They're still holding it. It seems the circle has gone for a shift, but still advanting them for this moment as Team QWERTY is in a very pretty close in the proximity where the grounders, all the 3 players are alive. One grenade can do the business, but it seems that the players from the side of Team QWERTY is just positioning themselves quite enough in not order to get their locations revealed. With Voltrucks on different directions, they seem that the players are in a complete split for the moment, and that can eventually help them in terms of total placement points. We can get to see the maroon markers, Voltrucks in different directions. Wolverine holders into lines of circle. The circle has gone for a shift. That means Voltrucks is not in the circle.
For now, that certainly is going to be the case. On the other front, talking about 52x Rage, they have gotten a knock on their player, but eventually will be able to get that revival confirmed for them. And behind them is going to be Sky's final player also remaining, and in that it is going to be X-Rage, who are absolutely going to try and obliterate their competition and their opponent, who are able to bring down and pincer down them with lids and bullets and bring them down to their knees. That is going to be none other than UNB, and in doing so they've been able to get that one knock confirmed on the players of UNB. But it is an extended fight. It is a long fight where UNB and 52x Rage are in a complete arbitrary situation, and in that it is going to be once again 52x who get the better half of the final player from the Portal Esports, as well as that final player from Team Sky.
Indeed, it is going to be the case, but 52 Rage, a good fight that resulted them getting a lot of kills in this fight, and that resulted them with NFP Sky making an elimination with just the 2 kills that they did secure. Eventually, the team that really did not make it for the moment, but teams that are really looking good for the moment, and that is obviously going to be of Team Grounders. All the 4 players alive with Shaptar on a charge. The players actually justify why he was there in that kill hungry chart, and since now he's trying to take the fight, it's going to be an easy task for them, as now North Esports are being completely hounded and completely engulfed from different directions. One grenade from the side of Team Bablu does the business, as now the complete team from the sides of UNB has been eliminated.
Absolutely, Wolf is the man who's reigning in supreme from the side of Clarity. On the other front, Team Star has also taken in a lot of kills for themselves. It is not looking like an easy affair for the side of Team QWERTY, where we do see Wolverine in a very interesting position for himself, but will that be able to take on that onslaught that is being brought on from his south? That is going to be none other than TG, and the Grounders are looking very dominating, because they've got 4 players surviving, and they're going to be making that rotation to get into the comfort of the zone. And as they do so, Clarity's players right here are going to have to showcase a better fight, where Dani is trying to get into the zone but will not be allowed to do so because his information has been given away. And the Grounders now, it could be their game if they are able to bring in that rage factor for themselves.
Team Star are really having a star day for today itself, and this is the last game, and they are making it all happen in this game of Erangel. I mean, they are looking absolutely phenomenal at the moment, and they are trying to pin down the players from sides of Team Clarity. Bablu Dani has gone down. It is seemingly impossible for Bablu Wolf to give the revival to Dani, as if he's pretty much away, and the distance is more than 50 meters, and this is a lost cause for them until he is taken care of. But now it seems that Jigsaw is the one that is trying to steal the kill, but no, it is going to be loser again from the sides of Team Star. That will be making sure that the one important point will be going into the favor, but we are down towards the 5 alive teams and 12 alive players, and in that it is going to be all 4 players alive from the sides of the Grounders, and they are getting the edge of the circle. Eventually they are getting the circle itself, and all 4 players split in different situations. This is going to be an easy task if they just play the cards well, else it is their one team that is just not waiting and stopping to steal away the kill, and that is going to be of Team Star.
Absolutely, that is something that we can very well favor the Star factors, but eventually when it comes to the play that is being showcased from the side of Grounders, they're trying to get the information. They are certainly trying to get the information. For now, they are being very quiet. They are taking on the fights and onslaught in terms of the nade parade and whatnot, but eventually they are working towards the information, and that information is what is going to be crucial when it comes to the elimination of their opponents. And the opponents are going to be moving on along, and it is going to be none other than Team Star, slowly but surely creating those smoke walls for themselves, and all 4 players moving away from that tower is going to move on to get into the zone itself. This is the 7th zone, 26 minutes in. Not an easy conversation to be had against the players of Team Star, because they've had 9 kills confirmed for themselves on the other front. Their opponent team that are going to be bringing in that same exact number of players against them is going to be none other than the Grounders, but the kill department is certainly going to be favoring Star, so the momentum is going to be in their favor. And again, with that perfectly set up nade parade that is being showcased from the side of Anonymous as well as Zyro, is going to be a retaliation that of course is onto the face of the grounders, and the grounders once again are being so very quiet. They are just falling back again and again. Sensei on the back, Knight on the back. I mean, what sort of an approach this team is trying to create? Not entirely sure. It is a flank that they want to be a part of, and that is where Shaptar chimes in along, absolutely obliterating his competition. With Fury goes down, but as soon as he does so, gives the information away to Gyro, and Gyro will be the one bringing in this play against the teammate. And what a play this has turned out to be, where both these teams take on against each other, and this is where the remaining teams in the top, for the likes of course Star, North Esports, they are going to be trying to chime in. And what a play. Wolf was waiting for this. Clarity Esports bringing in that domination against the players of North Esports. Gosta lost all by himself because it is going to be his teammate Zaman who is right in front of him, but revival will not be allowed because Wolf is ready with the utility working in his favor. Level 3 perfect helmet, and slowly but surely he's going to just try and blow up that vehicle to get that kill confirmed for himself. Just a perfect Mafia play being showcased from Wolf with the Thompson working in his favor. A beautiful spray, and there we go. He will be getting more kills for his team. 14 kills for the side of Clarity Esports, and Bablu, this team is not yet done with 4 teams remaining.
Indeed, 14 kill is where Bablu is standing, and the whole team is standing for the moment, as now Wolverine still alive from the sides of Team QWERTY. He was the one that eventually went for the flank angle. He was only the sentinel and the circle, and that has resulted in him eventually getting those important placement points. It's all up to him to get converted them into chicken, but in the moment it seems that now the grounders are getting a lot of hit from the sides of the Team Stars, and thanks to the onslaught that is coming from the Team Loser. But Wolverine, his positioning is completely anonymous to the team for the sides of Team Star, and the way he's trying to look at the players of Team Star, it seems that he knows exact positions where the sides of Team Loser and the sides of Team Star are positioned, and that can be the worst case scenario for them, as now the players are slowly and steadily going down with Knight still alive and Loser still in the frame. It seems that it's just a matter of time where Team Star can take this away, or either it is going to be Voltaire that is still alive on the backhand side, still making sure that he's not giving any sort of sound cues away, and in all this situation is a complete ruckus where Knight is just waiting for the moment. He brought that 1v2 situation. It's still up to him. The players are getting rival, but Wolverine is still surviving.
What a play from the side of Grounders. This was not expected. The Star team was looking so good in terms of the way that they were moving on along, but now the Grounders have the better half of this fight. They've got the information based on their opponents, and slowly but surely they are going to be bringing those opponents down, and it is going to be Knight who will try and bring in that onslaught, but eventually his teammate will be the one who will confirm that kill, get that fight working in his favor, and the Grounders come out of nowhere and take that chicken dinner away from the reigning supreme team of course, well, we had the Team Star right there. We had Wolf from the side of Clarity Esports. Even though he was all by himself, he nailed down North Esports in those final few moments. So an amazing final circle that was showcased from this game. But of course, it is the Grounders who get the better half of this final fight. 7 kills to the team, 1,651 damage, and find themselves with the 22 points that they accumulated on the 3rd spot. So a GG play from the side of TG for now. But this is just day number 1, and in that we've had every single game work on towards a completely different team, and that means the lobby is looking very dominating, right?
We just saw everything. We talk about aggression, talk about survivability tactics. It was obviously Voltrix from the sides of Team QWERTY. Wolverine that was still surviving in the last situation, and then it was 4 players alive from the sides of Grounders, brought down to 1. The fight was still on between them and Star that really was getting a lot of kill. They were having the momentum. They were having literally a lot of infos, because you remember they were holding the important wizard tower, and from that elevated point they were holding a lot of information, but it was just the outplayed word that I would use on the sides of Grounders. They were grounded, but as soon as they just saw the players that was just less in numbers, they just pinned them down. It was a complete annihilation, gobsmacking gameplay coming in from their side, and the most valuable player indeed that will be going into the sides of 420 boy. Remember this guy that was actually pinning down the players from the side of Team QWERTY, and this was the one that brought down Team QWERTY to a point that they were just left with no other option than to just go for those survivability tactics. 6 kill, 1162 damage is what he was able to secure in just the survival time of 19 minutes 8 seconds.
Absolutely, with that 1 assist and only 75 healing done. So a very, very dominating performance showcased from 420 boy right there. But that is the MVP. As we move on along to the top players list, we will have 5 players right there, where we'll of course be looking at the MVP. But along with him, who were the other well-worthy mentioning players? And that is where the top players list comes in along. And the top players list talks about, once again, the team of Clarity Esports, where it is going to be Wolf with 6 kills, 809 damage in the 26 plus minutes of survival time that he was a part of in this final game. A dominating play being showcased from the side of Clarity's players, but that's not it, because Team Stars Fury is right here along with his teammate Zyroji, and we have 52x Rage Esports faster with 4 kills, 578 damage. So a very interesting domination and a perfect synergistic play being showcased from so many of these teams. Talk about that final fight where it was, of course, the Grounders that seemed to be at the receiving end, but boy oh boy, that perfect fight that they took against each other, and that is the moment that Wolf completely shone across and brought down the players of North Esports. That was just the play that this dude was waiting for Clarity. So of course, when it comes to the points, Clarity have walked away with a lot, but same can be said for the side of Team QWERTY as well, as they worked to get those placement points this time around, right?
Indeed, it was Wolverine that really got those important placement points, 10 important placement points, because at the moment it was Vault Trucks that was in a split situation, just the 2 players alive. Eventually that really paid them off well, but just the 2 kills. But eventually an important 12 points will be helping their course. We just got to see them in that second half of the chart, but certainly 12 points will be helping their course for sure. Team Star getting important 18 total points. Look at the number of total kills that they were able to secure. 10 is the total number, just the 18 total placement points, and above them it's just one team, Clarity Esports, with 15 total kill in terms of kill point that we just talk about that for the moment. IIT Esports on the other hand, they just saw those early elimination going to the favor. Eventually it was high fracking game in the game of Miramar, but certainly this Erangel was not theirs, and then it was Porter Esports also leaving the lobby in the very early stage of the game. Quraysh Esports, we just saw one player just loitering around here and there, and thus resulting them being picked off also in the very early stage of the game.
Exactly, and with that we do move on along with, of course, the Oppo F19 Pro moments that will summarize the entire showcase of domination from these teams. The likes of course, Clarity Esports walking away with so many kills to the side of the Grounders, who moved into that final circle with only just 2 kills, but then converted that into quite a lot of fragging effects for themselves. But this is where the domination started from Clarity Esports, where in the 17th minute marker, this team got their first kill, and from there was no stopping them.
There was just no stopping for them, as just perfectly mentioned, and then it was all easy for them, as we just perfectly got to see them making a move onto the circle, as we just got to see them eliminating as soon as that happened. It was an easy task for them, but it was really a good affair for them, as we got to see. We just saw those Pochinki circles. I mean, it was not an easy task. We talk about the Pochinki circles, it was not an easy task for them. We talk about other teams, there was present, but the Grounders were there that made an entry from the northern side, and they were the third team. But the way they actually held themselves passively in the same era actually resulted them getting away from those mid-range fight in those initial fights, and that actually helped them get closer and closer towards those last circles. And every time the numbers advantage is what we talk about this battle royal.
Absolutely do. With that, now let's again go back to those Oppo F19 Pro moments, because that was not it. There were so many other fights that did took place, and in that, as we move on in with the final few moments of this entire saga of these fights, it is going to be ZARAR right here on our screen, along with of course the likes of Team QWERTY, who tried their level best to stand their ground against that push, but were not allowed to do so.
Quraysh Esports on a different tangent. They were trying to take the fight, and they were looking pretty phenomenally good until unless NFP tried to pin them down, but Khatir was just shown their back, and he was made sure that he won't be surviving for a long time, as now Bulwari, this was the guy that really survived for a long time for South Team QWERTY, and Bablu from the back hand side really made sure that North Esports will be getting a better off. Eventually did 1v2 in the situation with the help of just that SMG. So a lot of SMG action. We talk about the ARs, there are players that are really making it happen. Again, SMG is from the side of Knight. It was an easy task for him. SMG again taking care of Knight, and it seemed that no, this time he will be using those M416, and when he used that, he just faltered on. So it seemed that SMGs are the real trouble for the enemy side.
But the dude was absolutely perfect in terms of the way that he was able to just completely bring down the opponents, and one by one certainly working in his team's favor, both the kill department, but the damage that was showcased from Clarity Esports was absolutely abysmal. 2,623 damage being showcased from this team, with 15 kills is what Clarity Esports walks away with, after which of course we do have the side of Team Star, who were also part of some really good fights. 10 kills to that team, 27 damage that they were a part of, and again from that we move on to the team that did get the chicken dinner with 1651 damage with 7 kills. That's going to be the Grounders, but of course the conversation is going to be favoring Clarity Esports, because the kind of retaliation and domination that they've shown against their opponents, 35 kills is what they're sitting on.
35. Total of 35 and a total of 64 is what they secured for this moment. And then we got to see a drop in terms of total points where Modified is still standing. It seemed that it is going to be 47. 17 points is where the Modified is still away from where QWERTY Esports are surviving at the first spot. And the interesting part is both the team that are on first and second don't have any sort of chicken.
Exactly. They have just been working towards either the placement point or the kill hungry showcase of actual performance that QWERTY Esports have been a part of. And from there, as we move on through the list itself, we do have North Esports on the 9th spot. Team QWERTY, with the placement points that were able to work for them this time around, will be able to jump up to the 10th spot with 23 points. They are certainly a part of this entire saga. But again, the final page of this leaderboard is going to be showcasing that all of these teams have the chance to be able to showcase that sort of performance. From 16th position of 52x Rage to the 9th position of North Esports, 24 points to the 16 point. It is very much doable in just 1 or 2 good games.
52 Rage, I mean 16 total points that they were able to secure. And talking about kill securation, it is gonna be the kill leaders where we're getting to head towards our concentration upon, and it is gonna be QWERTY's Wolf with a total of 13 kill in all the 4 matches, 2173 damage. Ever's overtime is also pretty decent, and then it's his own teammate, his own friend. 10 kills, 1962 damage again from side of QWERTY. Then we got to see reviews from I8, and he was the guy that really made it difficult in the game of Miramar. And then it was a huge chunk of total kills that he did secure, but pretty much the same as pretty much close, where we got to see then Halsey from Sci-Fi NFP Sky and the grounder Sensei. He was the one in this last game itself there. He showed what he is made up of.
Absolutely did, and some perfectly synergistic play that was being showcased from the side of the grounders. They were looking really good in terms of the way that they were able to take that final circles fight into their favor against the likes of Team Star. And of course, we did have Team QWERTY's final player along with QWERTY Esports' final player as well. So a decent outing for so many of these teams on the first day of PMCO regional finals is where it is at. Just day one. This sort of an onslaught being brought on from the side of Pakistan region is perfect, is just perfect. But they want showcasing this sort of strat. I wonder by the end of these matches what sort of a point structure will be created from the teams that are on the top of the leaderboard. Already we're looking at 64 points in just first day.
I mean, it did a lot of high fragging gameplay. We talk about the kills that was certainly being dominated by the lads of QWERTY Esports and eventually the team. But I really want to see how 52 Rage will make a comeback, because the team really finished second in semi-finals after the end of day 1 regional finals. They are on the last 16 is where they are.
They are there, but again, when it comes down to the gameplay that they showcase, the perfect turn of events that they showcase throughout the day, they are on that steamrolling start. And of course, as the days progress on along, we can anticipate all the teams to bring in that sort of a play style. But with that, we do reach the end of our day for the day. A huge thanks to Oppo F19 Pro for making this all happen. Along with that, a huge thanks to you guys sitting back at home for supporting the fans and the entirety of the saga. But as I said, the day does come to an end. We'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Here we go now. Here we go now.